I imagine maybe 90+%. Early to say, but 90+% of our side selection scenarios might just end up going like this.
I'm very curious as well, coming into the new year and with all the changes, how much does our meta really change right away? Because we saw even, you know, Team Mid tryharding over at the season opener, and they were kind of just going for comps that looked very much like the games we were playing last year or years before.
You see, Brendan, this is the LCK. And in the LCK, some things never change as you see the Azir ban come through.
Yeah.
Some things are just ironclad. But to be fair, playing into BDD, the Azir ban makes sense. Jace ban as well. That was something that kind of came in after Worlds, but before the new season, we saw a lot of top laners getting changes to make them viable in the jungle. You know, Jace, Ambessa, Malphite, Aatrox all got buffs to make them playable in the jungle. So even though you'd expect Jace ban coming through, it is towards top lane, probably more likely to be a jungle ban with that one coming out.
We also have the Silas ban here, kind of targeting closer, I would imagine.
But also that, you know, we've seen a lot of Silas bans when you want to prioritize Malphite. So we are just going to get that first pick Malphite. Expect to see it in the jungle. And with the Silas taken away, obviously Silas into Malphite is phenomenal because he stacks armor, but also just stealing that ult. One of the best ults in the game. Give it AP behind it as well, and you're extremely strong.
Yeah, makes sense. We did see Zaheen there for just a moment. And certainly the Rumble was pretty popular all of last year, and also even at the season opener. We also have Wukong and Rumble Wukong.
Rumble Wukong, wow.
I don't think we've ever seen that combo off.
Interesting.
This is our first time.
Yeah, we obviously talked a ton about Sundered Sky. It did get changed a little bit. The crit got reduced, so it's not a full crit anymore, but it's still Sundered Sky. Definitely feels like the DN Super's going for a bit of the old, and KT Rolster going for a bit of the new. Yunara coming in, obviously a pick that we did see before, but really benefited the new Fiend Hunter Bolts, an item we've seen played a lot with her. And Talia coming in for BDD, and DN Supers, they are fully committed. This is what we were playing last year.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Ahri into Talia as well, and we also saw BDD playing a ton of Talia, especially when the Azir was getting banned all the time, as it always does. So definitely has been a very big comfort pick for him, so not necessarily the most new thing there, but excited to see the Malphite in action here in Pro, as the Ambessa going to be immediately banned away here.
Yeah, I think in this situation, Dudu's obviously taking that Rumble, trying to give him as good a matchup as possible and give him strength there. Also, finding picks that can synergize with the Wukong. Rakan is something, Rakan Wukong has been terrifyingly strong, and playing into the Yunara would be good. That being said, Rakan into Talia, not the most fun matchup, but we have kind of seen some of those compositions, the Broom compositions, where you have so many dashes, you just clean up the rocks, could have ended up like that, but Nautilus then comes through as a ban. Surprisingly, haven't seen any look-ins towards Braum. We've seen kind of in the Champions queue, Braum being like perma-banned because of how much he synergizes with the new support item, the Bandle Pipe. So not really a look-in at all. Maybe team's not super comfortable blinding it. But the Corki is going to come through the DN Supers, a pick that Dr. had a lot of success on last year, which I feel like for the DN Super draft, last year, that's what we've been saying. A lot of last year looks from what they've picked up.
Really no surprises at all from them, kind of just, you know, looking at their old homework and bringing it back in. Alistair, looks like he's going to get a look here for Palu. Was always a strong pick for Palu, and it's going alongside of the Yunara. Definitely good for trying to disengage against Ahri and Wukong, especially as Cassante just going to be the pick here into the Rumble.
Yeah, so now with 3 tanks and 2 damage threats, a lot of emphasis really put onto aiming and BDD. Aiming in particular, you are the hyper carry in this composition. If you get exploded, if you go down, you're really going to be running out of damage quite quickly, potentially, in this composition. So, end up going for the Pantheon support, something we did see show up. Often something that could be picked later in Fearless. You know, I remember Delight coming out with this when things were banned away, but going for it very early on. And wanting to have some of that early pressure. But I think maybe emphasizing the fact that they want to shut down aiming. If he falls behind in this game, KT's composition is going to struggle a bit in terms of damage. But that being said, they have an insane front line, an insane level of engage, and a hyper carry who can really take over games if she's allowed to fight freely.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this, to be honest, I do feel like KT Rolster, they've gone for a comp we've seen many times in the past in terms of its identity, you know, where you kind of have the hyper carry and a lot of protection for it, but with a little bit of new sprinkled in with the jungle Malphite. Whereas on the side of DN Supers, it kind of just feels like, you know, 2025 or even 2024. Like, you know, I don't know what year their comp is from, but we've seen it so many times.
Every year.
It doesn't really inspire a lot of interest, let's say. It can definitely work, right? The comp was strong for a very long time for a reason, but it does feel like KT have kind of done their homework a little bit more.
There's something to be said that, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but it does feel like, is this going to give them the power they need in this new patch? You know, I think Kid Corki definitely being solid. We'll see.
We'll see. And with that, we have the first match and the first game here as the minions have spawned. And, you know, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So the minions do spawn much quicker now if you haven't played at all or haven't looked at the changes.
Yeah, less time for level 1 shenanigans. I've definitely been caught out by this. You know, you're trying to do like a little cheeky invade. And you're like, I'm late to lane. I'm really late to lane. Oh, we've missed waves. Pace of the game much faster at the start, which is kind of what was talked about in the space. We did was saying the game feels faster, even if the game time in solo queue actually seems to be longer overall. Things are happening faster. You know, as the game time progresses, we have faster minion waves. Your first wave is sooner, so it feels a bit more non-stop, even if the overall time of the game is a bit longer. You can see this early pressure coming out from the DN Supers bot lane. Doing a really good job so far.
Yeah, not a big surprise. That was kind of a surprise. BDD took a turret shot to the face. Not sure exactly how he calculated that one. But yeah, I mean, Pantheon's poke at level 1 is going to be much better than the Alistar. And of course, Corki can be very obnoxious, especially into level 1 Unara. So they're trying to put on as much pressure as possible.
Unara's laning as well. It's very much about stacking up your passive and empowering your autos. That's how you can effectively trade. If you can't touch the wave, you can't trade effectively, especially into a Corki is such good burst trades. So Life and Doctor, I'm really putting the pain on so far in this 2v2, and Aiming and Polu just kind of on the back foot. Also to note, Life has gone for Ignite into Polu's heal, so that heal going to have a lot less effectiveness if it's timed right and you get the Ignite down first. We often see the heal burn early to try to mitigate trade pressure, but if you can go for an engage, get the Ignite down, reduce that healing, the all-in pressure is going to be very severe.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be pretty annoying and something for them to deal with. Trying to get that first plate, which you can get very quickly on this patch.
That's another thing to mention. So visually, this looks very different to what we had before, but it's actually just before more resistances were gained as the tower got lower. Now they've just traded the resistances for health. So visually, you can see clearly how tanky each plate is, but they're just as tanky as they were before. It's just a better visual indicator that the further you get down the tower, the tankier the plates were anyway. But you are right, it's very easy to get that first plate, especially if the crystalline overgrowth has started to stack up.
Now, Killshake going to be spotted here. The jungler's not really getting into too much just yet, but
this is rough.
We do have the setup here for Aiming. Palu is going to get back on time, it looks like, but Aiming is very low. He's got heal, barrier, and flash. And can he escape this gank? This dive is the question. Stun comes in, the damage is there from Duckdom, and that is going to be first blood going over to Killshake. Duckdom taking a lot of damage, but he gets out with the Valkyrie, and Palu not able to keep them around for very long, as no seismic shove even going to be utilized here by BDD, and that's a clean dive.
And you get massive value from this, because not only do you get the kill, you get those two summoners in the barrier and the heal, but BDD teleports down, and something with the role quest is that you get way more value for doing things in your own lane, you know, whether you're CSing or just spending time in your own lane, so BDD kind of wasting his TP and time coming down to the bot lane. The heal is early, because they know the enemy team has Ignite, but with that low HP, there's just not enough to be done, and Duckdom has the aggro, just slides out again, and it means those two members in Pyosik and Life who are deeper, they don't even end up low on HP, so there's really no recourse for KT.
Yeah, and Palu's just there trying his best to keep them around for BDD, but he only has one combo as a level 2 Alistar, so couldn't even add an extra stun on top of that. So just a very nice plan there from the side of the Supers to get them started and to really make things rough for Aiming here early on in this game, and to hopefully delay his quest as well. by getting him out of lane, not allowing him to CS as much, etc. As this Pantheon pick looking pretty good so far as the, do we call it the R5? We don't, because the supers are on the blue side. But as the last pick, in this case, the B5, with our new first selection setup here, has been working well for them. As now, a little bit of a flash coming in, the wall's coming down. Life does not have his own flash, as it is going to be a dodge on the seismic shove, but Life stuck between the wall and the rest of KT, not able to get away, and that's a kill for KT.
Bit too many members, bit too much damage, and that Pantheon is very squishy after his E has gone down to mitigate the damage. So good setup there from KT. VDD going for a decent roam. Is able to come out successful. So you see here, able to find the wall to cut them off, and knowing that there's no flash, Palu goes for the flash pulverize into headbutt. And they try to go for 2 there, but Duckdown with a nice little dodge away. He still had sums after as well. So he was fairly comfortable, regardless of how that seemed a little bit close.
Yep, he was fine. His lane partner, not so much. We did just see Dudu have to flash in the live cam that we had there during that replay. So perfect with this Cassante as the counter pick for the Rumble, at least in terms of pick order. Working pretty well for him so far. Picked the early Megatron cloak up.
And despite that early pressure we saw, aiming is still pretty close in terms of farm, and they have 1 assist each. You know, takedowns contribute towards the quest. Farm,
yeah, right as the Pantheon leaves here, a bit of a trade, nicely done. Cuz, though, very low on mana. Trying to do the dragon by himself will be denied.
A little risky, pre-6 especially from the Malphite, so he will be forced away. But as I was saying, you know, the farm, so each quest for the laners, farm contributes towards your quest, but for bot lane it's even more so. You get extra weighting, so the fact that aiming's roughly keeping up, despite that early pressure, is really positive for KT. Dragon will be picked up there by the DN supers, and Cuz is forced away. But honestly, you know, with Malphite, you just want to be hitting your level 6, which has now been achieved by Cuz. So that ult being available, a massive point of power for him.
Yeah, it's certainly going to help him out quite a bit, as Perfect coming down, making sure that this Scuttle Crab is going to go over to his jungler eventually. Yeah, comes with the smite there. And yeah, just looking good in the top lane for Perfect. The mid lane has been very even with BDD roaming a couple of times, once with the teleport, once with the wall, and still able to maintain a slight CS lead here.
Yeah, haven't seen any quests come through yet. You can see with the new UI at the top, just below the team names, it has all the quests. We saw this when we had the opening...
Season opener?
Season opener, yeah.
Season opening event.
Season opening event.
SOE.
Yes, thank you, Brendan. But whenever any of the quests
there, but you were.
Whenever any of the quests are completed, it will notify you there. So easy to keep tabs on. But so far, no one has quite completed theirs. Junglers still got a fair few more camps to go.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think some of them, you like immediately get that big spike. Some of them takes a bit longer to really feel the rewards.
See, the first completed item is going to be the Zeke's Herald's here for Cuz.
Zeke's Convergence?
Yes, Convergence, sorry.
Yeah.
Living in the past. And,
they changed this item.
They did. It used to be kind of a joke between us, but now...
Well, they added ultimate haste to it, importantly. And he's also gone the domination tree. So sometimes we see Malphite popular in solo queue, you go press the attack. But he's gone electrocute, which, I mean, essentially it's 3 hits, right? Similar. But it does mean he'll undoubtedly have ultimate hunter. You get the ultimate haste from the Zeke's as well. His ult's going to be in a pretty low cooldown. It's not, like, crazy low, like you're going to use it twice in a fight, but definitely means he'll have it more freely available. But it also means that Frost Storm, immediately proccing after you ult, going to be a lot of damage represented.
Yeah, definitely feels good on a champion like Malphite. One that's certainly very reliable, or very much relies on his ult, I should say. Yeah. And going to be seeing that on probably more junglers as we do get them across, especially
and it's also
Fearless.
Just, you know, players in different roles abusing cheap support items. Yep. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yep. As Pishk's doing the grubs here, We do have Cuz and BDD on the way. The charm's going to miss already, so I'm not sure how much longer Pyosik can stick around. As Little Smite did come in, as there is the engage. Pyosik going in on a BDD, though, who is going to flash the wall. Not going to get away, though, as Pyosik picks up that first kill. And now Cuz in a lot of trouble. Double kill for Pyosik. Already up to 3 kills on this Wukong in this game. And the fight goes very much awry for KT. The Supers are on top.
This is one thing, right? It was a first pick Mal fight, and I honestly feel like with the champions on the DN Supers, there's not that many champs that are easy to connect with, and look how well Pyosik plays this. As soon as the ult comes in, he dashes forward onto BDD. Yes, the Unraveled Earth stuns him, but it doesn't matter because he has Closer there for the follow-up. They delete the Talia. Cuz doesn't have the damage to even get a single kill without that Talia follow-up, and Perfect, who joined late, he just has to walk away.
Yeah, it felt like a little bit rushed from the side of KT. They're like, okay, we can blow up one target. We've got Malphite Talia. We have, you know, essentially what should be very reliable CC to set up the Talia. But as you mentioned, it was totally dodged by the Wukong. And so you don't have a safe Talia. You don't have the Talia damage on top. And and they didn't have the Cassante either. It was like they went way too early. So I think KT very overconfident there.
They were just expecting Pyosik to crumble. And he really stepped up there. Now 3-0, and the Wukong is a great spot to be in. And it is concerning, because if you start to get a lot of Fed members in the DN Supers and KT is just a lot of tanks, aiming really needs to not only thrive, but survive in these fights. Because, you know, Cuz, if he ults Pyosik, he's not going to be able to 100-0 him later in the game. And really, Dokdam's also a bit of a trickier target to pin down with that Valkyrie, so...
We got the ult this time on a Pyosik, who is trying to go forward, actually, but the CC chain is very much going to deny that, as Palu does pick up the kill, unfortunately, but still, things looking good in the fight here for the side of KT. The charm is going to miss on the wall. BDD totally fine. Bit of damage comes in, gets the knockup back into Palu, who picks up the second kill. Kind of unfortunate there, but still, KT pick up 2 kills in the trade. Yeah,
not ideal for the gold locations, but still great plays coming out from KT. The setups there, the CC, the bounce house with the follow-up from BDD allows them to equalize in terms of the overall kill score. Not going to go for anything more now. I remember with Home Guards, very quick for the DN Supers to get back on the map. We do start having the support quests coming in for both teams. Top quest completed for Dudu right now. And we'll see. This one's starting off contesting Vision here. And Pyosik down flash at this point. And then here he W'd in. And that's the point Cuz knows, right. You don't have flash from the previous fight. You just W'd. Now I know I can hit you 100%. And again, it's unfortunate Palu got the gold for that one.
Yeah.
But still a pretty big hiccup for the team overall.
Yeah, the gold for both of them. As you can see, that Cuz nearly got his ult back. So at the end of the day, you know, he used it in the last fight. Hasn't really gotten to any skirmishes since then.
I remember, if this is a... So it's early. It's only like a level 6 ultimate, not like a level 11 ultimate. And he doesn't have like full Ultimate Hunter stacks yet.
Yeah. It's going to get pretty insane. As Dokdam taking a bunch of damage, aiming... looking good there. Palu thinking about it, but don't know exactly where life is. Well, now they seem to have an idea with that ward coming out. And yeah, you were talking about the quests. 4 out of 5 already done here for the DN Supers, whereas KT only have that support quest done so far, so...
I saw the icon above aiming. I thought his was done, but it appears not.
Maybe it's a little bit delayed. We'll have to wait and see here on the new patch. A lot of changes. So we'll try to get confirmation of that for you guys.
I mean, his boots are still in his inventory, so I guess not. I don't know.
Maybe you're just seeing things off.
Yeah, still coming to terms, a lot of new changes. What we can say is DN Supers have a lot of quests done. Although some of them aren't really benefiting. Like, Closer's finished his quest, but he's still got the regular boots. So not fully benefiting from that yet.
Yeah. We don't have any big Smite fights happening at this point in the game either, so the fact that Pyosik got there a little bit earlier, not going to be the biggest of deals, although that extra movement speed is quite nice. You know, you're farming the jungle much faster, you're getting around everywhere much faster, so maybe it can help with a little bit of tempo.
The fact that, you know, we see a lot of junglers going the blue smite plus the percentage movement speed that you get just means you're zooming around the map. Hard to pin down as well, unless you're really out of position. Movement speed, definitely a stat I put a lot of stock in.
Yeah, it's a good one. We do have Infernal Rifts, Infernal Soul for this game, so 2 Dragons already going over to DNS, and KT will look to try to stack those, especially with the couple more kills going their way. They've been able to make it a bit more even, and maybe they can fight in the next big team fight over there. Still looking for more quests of theirs to be done, as it's still... Okay, and there's the one for aiming. Just finished it.
Okay, now it comes... Okay.
All right, now they're coming in.
I was seeing things. That's what we've confirmed.
You were seeing things. Not the first time. And Duckdom hasn't finished his, so kind of the odd one out here for the side of DNS, and BDD out of the lane for quite a while, and did die in one of those fights. Now we got a one-on-one here, as Dudu gonna be forced to flash again.
Wait, okay, you're gonna say that I was definitely seeing things. I definitely saw Duckdom have the icon above his head, 100%.
All right, was Ox seeing things?
And his boots are also in the side slot, right? Am I going crazy? I might be going
let's
crazy.
Take a look.
I need the scoreboard to come back
crazy,
up.
Yeah.
I need the scoreboard to come back up. This is.
You definitely weren't crazy before. Oh, we got a little gank coming in. BD. He's just gonna flash away from that one.
Okay, flash bit, nice.
Yeah.
I feel like the Pantheon, not super high value, so it's kind of okay. Now KT have all their quests.
And Ox definitely saw that Duckdoms was done. And, you know, he's getting engaged on pretty quickly here underneath the turret as he gets stunned once again. The damage coming out from the Malphite, and the Zeke's Cuz just going on in. At least he does get the kill, but eventually does go down as Paulo in a bunch of trouble himself.
Nice.
Can't get away from Closer Zari. Very comfortable on this champ, and so DNS able to convert very well on that play.
Okay, I assume from the fact that we've retained
a little bit of...
I'm not crazy, Brendan.
He's not crazy.
I'm not crazy.
We don't have like full confirmation, but we'll have to wait and see. Nice little knockback there, but Closer's just
I just want you to say I'm not crazy, Brendan.
I can neither confirm or deny that, based on my experiences with
I think at this point in the game, I'm going to assume that everyone has completed their quest, right? We can see in the mid lane, tier 3 boots, we know the junglers have. The bot laners, the boots have vanished. The supports have done theirs. The top laners, who cares about top lane anyway? Let's be real.
I mean, they either have it or they don't. It's 50-50. It doesn't really...
They definitely will have by this point. They definitely will have. So that's, you know, when we're at that point where it's like, oh, they could have or they could not, it's very close.
Yeah.
At this point, they definitely do. This was a lot committed on the Duckdom, and there was some nice peel from Pioshik that kind of meant Cuz had to die. And then there was some decent cleanup in return, right? The Ahri getting the ult value just to chase down the Alistar. So a lot committed, and even if they'd, you know, they got the kill, they weren't really getting out, but weren't really able to do much on the back of it. And no, but he's done his quest. Look, it's in the extra slot. He's done his quest.
Okay, well,
it's lying to me.
It is lying.
I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy
or at least
anymore.
Yeah. It's completed.
Yeah, it's completed. You got the confirmation.
If he hadn't completed it at 1730, he'd have other issues. Let's be real.
He'd be very far behind in gold. Now he is still behind in gold by 600. But the rest of the team is doing very well.
Oh, it's updated. There we go.
There you go. Okay.
There we go. Nice. It's day one. You know.
It's day one.
We're learning.
It's good.
We're growing.
We are. Yeah. And we'll see which one of these teams is going to grow their stack of dragons. And KT don't really have a stack just yet, but they're hoping to get one here on this Infernal with the Infernal Soul coming in. Does feel like both of these teams vying pretty heavily for this dragon. Don't want to give DNS Soul Point this early on. And apparently KT activated Coach Voice. We just got that update here. So you can actually see that in the bottom left corner as Dudu in a lot of trouble. He's not been doing well in this one as now the fight is bringing up. Paulo's already down, but look at that. The 80 carry of DNS is gone, but PDD in the thick of it. He's going to go down, but aiming still untouched. Only has Cuz as a front line, and immediately they turn onto him, and aiming goes down. Pioshik and Closer putting 2-2 together and just looking amazing here so far in these team fights. KT took a big fight to DNS and they lost it big time. By the way, Dudu also won the 1v1.
Yeah.
Top lane, it's an ace at 19 minutes into the game.
Looks like the Coach Voice didn't really help out in that situation.
Not the best timing, no.
Yeah. big win for the DN Supers, honestly. Coming out huge in that one. Massive team fight winning the bot side, as well as getting that solo kill top lane. And it was a very sporadic fight here. I think, you know, the engage starts to come in, and they do find Dr. early on, but it's just the follow-up once you start getting the resets, because you're trading members, resets are coming in for closer, your only damage threat is aiming. The stun from Live comes in to set them up. And again, even without the Corki, you still have so much damage in this composition. And here we're seeing this 1v1 on the top side. Oh, the equalizer value is so huge. He's just sitting on it. He's sitting on it.
I mean, if he hits the Q, I guess he wins. But eventually he doesn't.
Guy, don't sit on the equalizer. That is the lesson here.
Yeah. He didn't have to do that, but I think the idea was, okay, I'm going to just try to kill him as fast as possible. I have enough health. I can tank it. As we know now, that's obviously not the case.
He was like, I'm that guy. I'm built different. These flames don't hit me. They do.
I mean, he did stack a ton of MR, and he was doing well in the lane, but he wasn't ahead on golds.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess Perfect kind of just misjudging that one. And Dudu showing that the veterancy...
A less than perfect play.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is,
hey,
I guess.
This is a big lead for the DN Soup.
It's pretty huge.
DN Supers, right? Big lead, big advantage. In a matchup where pretty heavily we expected KT to be favored. And yes, it's day one. Yes, you know, there's... the quest is gone again. Oh, no, it's back.
Okay, it's back. Every time we call it out, it disappears.
Oh, KT looking for something here.
Yeah, I mean, their wombo combo's great, right? But instead, they're going to get engaged on as aiming in a bunch of trouble. No real follow-up, but aiming is so low, and now Life is coming on in, and aiming, there's nothing he can do except run, because also only just running away, not really able to set anything up. So much for that wombo combo I was talking about. That's Cuz in a lot of trouble. The Term is going to hit here on Apollo. Nice double knockup at least, but they don't really have that much damage without their Yunara. And eventually Cuz is going to go down. Perfect finally gets here, and VDD is still pretty healthy. But eventually, I think they're just too far ahead, and DNS will close out the fight in their favor.
I feel like KT lucky for aiming to even get out of that situation, but the problem is he is just zoned so heavily from this Wukong. This is so much of your sustained damage, and he just doesn't get to play the game. Pyoshik goes, you know what, I'm just going to send it, aiming's on the front line, commits to it, gets so much damage down, and even though the peel from Polo is great, you're not saving the fight. You're saving your AD carry who can no longer fight, and you're trapped in a situation where, unfortunately, you're not able to escape. They do kind of manage to turn it around a little bit. They get a kill on a Life in return, but it's still never favorable for KT. My only consolation is that it could have been worse, which is not really what you want to say after a fight.
Yeah. Could have been much worse. It did feel like, you know, if a couple things came together and they were able to get a bit more momentum early on in that fight, maybe kill aiming straight out and then follow up from there. Could have been good, but instead...
Well, you know, Closer knows all about the bromentum.
He is a bro talent of, you know, some year, of 1 year, I guess. You know, he's got that at least a little bit under his belt. I don't know how official it is, but still counts, I guess. And 14 stacks on the Magi's already, especially on an Ahri.
Palu, though. Palu's a bro talent too.
Yeah, he is.
So who does Degon support in this matchup?
You're right.
Who's Degon choosing?
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one to answer.
Probably a matter of preference for the player, or maybe just the role.
Don't make him choose between the bros.
You know, Degon is an AD carry player. Very fitting. You know, I feel like that makes a lot of sense for Degon and his personality. I feel like maybe he would support the support in this case. You know, go with KT. I believe he also did predict KT, as did I, and you.
Yeah.
As of right now, those predictions not looking so good. And it's surprised new guest and Wadid, who did go for the DNS.
So we haven't unlocked yet, apparently, according to the space.
It's like Mario and Luigi. I don't know, it's just, oh man. I'm excited to introduce our new guest on Saturday to you guys. I will actually be on the desk as well.
Wow.
Alongside of new guest.
Oh, TP coming in. They are committing heavily. This is Soul for the DN Supers. If they can secure this, Infernal Soul would be massive here. You think how close Pyoshik was to blowing up aiming in the last fight, add a bit of extra Infernal damage, and he would just be dead. So KT trying to find a way to navigate this afraid of this choke point, and you can see why with the Rumble there.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good opportunity for DNS to shake off the rust from last year and show us they can do team fights much better. As of now, though, Life is going to be taking a huge amount of damage, gets pulled back and immediately goes down, but the Infernal Soul does go over to DNS, so
yeah,
a lot of space made by Life, you could say, and a big commitment from KT onto him, and so they just lose the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, you got the Pantheon support, not that big of a pickup overall, and the Malphite ult got 0 value, and this is kind of one of the things where, you know, we talked about the DN Supers, their composition kind of being a comp we would have seen last year, we've seen previously, but it works well in the Malphite because there's not that many easy targets. Everyone has mobility. He goes for Closer. Closer just ults away, not even having to flash the ult, and suddenly your best engage tool is gone. Perfect grabs Pantheon, cool. Then what? You lose the soul, you're just watching them. Not really a good pickup for KT, and DN Supers now with soul in hand, still 5,000, nearly 6,000 gold ahead.
Yeah, and as I was saying right before that fight broke out, we saw a lot of the issues from DN last year, where it really came from their inability to team fight and to play together as a team. Obviously, there have been some roster changes, and it is a new year, a fresh feeling coming into 2026. And I really hope that they kind of cleared up all those issues because they had tons of talent last year, but unfortunately, they really couldn't show it off all too well.
It felt like last year, the roster, it was some of the worst performances we've seen from a lot of these players in their whole career, and it felt like the team was worse than the sum of their parts. That's why it was so surprising, right? Yeah. We've seen teams struggle in the LCK before, it's nothing new, but our expectations were a lot higher at the start of the year than what came to be, especially considering how rough it was, how they went long periods winless, and, you know, it's hard to pin down exactly whose fault. I wouldn't say it was any individual's fault. It just really felt like the team wasn't working. And the fact that they still have 3 of those players with the new mid, new AD carry, things looking a lot better right now. Closer, though, in trouble with KT collapsing.
Yeah, he is Ari, but they've really done their work trying to corral this guy. As Life comes in, though, pretty early on, as Life will essentially die for the sins of Closer. Although I'm not sure if he really had to.
Yeah, Life's like,
an angle to
Life's like, I'll
right.
die for you. And Closer's like, bro, I'm out like a minute ago.
I'm already level 16 with Flash. Yeah. I think I can handle this.
Well, he's just getting stuck in. We love to see it.
Yeah.
But now KT has a bit of position around the Baron area, but are they going to be able to go for it?
That was
he ulted.
Yeah, it was
he ulted and flashed.
It was a flash ult from Cuz that essentially just got the flash out of Pyoshik. So trading flashes there, tons of poke coming down onto aiming here with the equalizer.
Is that enough to stop Baron? Cuz has no flash or ult, so him getting in the pit is really difficult. I think you could just stop Baron here, honestly, if I'm the DN Supers, and
yep, there you go.
Feel the same way.
Yeah, I didn't see the coach voice thing come through, but
now Cuz has to walk around, which puts him at massive threat of being charmed or CC'd.
Yeah, Life is trying his best to zone him away. Not really doing all too well, though. Cuz does have access to the pit, and now the engage goes in onto the Ari. Closer does get away. Palu extremely low, as is Perfect, and the damage is coming in. Only the clone in a bit of danger as Dudu picks up that first kill. Cuz and aiming and Perfect all on their last sliver of health as the flash comes through.
There's a reset.
Closer gets the one, is still on the chase here. As BDD by himself, 1v3, not looking so good. He has another equalizer here. Dudu gets that back, uses it again, and picks up another kill, and KT are totally routed.
Oh, the stun!
Oh, that was so close. Could have been another kill on top of it. Instead, DNS say, well, a very extended fight, but now we're going to take the Baron.
Yeah, once again, I'm in a situation where I'm like, this could have been worse for KT. It really looked like they were going to get clean aced in this situation, but it's still incredibly bad. And the DN Supers, the engage comes on a Closer, but the peel is there. He's able to move backwards. Aiming's not able to get that much damage. A lot of time hitting the clone, can't move forwards. And then this damage that comes out from Dudu and Closer is so threatening. And honestly, the point I was making is look at these low health bars. I thought this was going to be a clean ace, and they managed to just about get a couple of members out with Perfect and BDD surviving. But it's still dire straits for KT now. Baron going over to the side of the DN Supers. One thing to note as well, Baron is now with less gold. It's about half as much global gold, so instead of 300 each, it's 150 gold. Still a lot of money. Still the Baron buff, which the DN Supers are going to put to work. And it's 507 for Closer. 22 stacks on that Medjais. I mean, look at the items on Closer, and look at the items on BDD. Like, how much AP does Closer have? 621. How much AP does BDD have? Like 250?
Yeah, I was thinking like 280, maybe.
If that.
If that. I mean, he's very much behind. This is something you talked about when we first saw the draft, right? If they get behind, Aiming has to do so much of the heavy lifting in terms of damage. And I mean, I guess he's going to get the flash at a Life, who does kind of flash on top of the wall and then get booped over to safety. Perfect, just taking the objective bounty up on the top side.
Think how much time it was taking for Aiming just to kill the Pantheon support. And that Pantheon support's been dying a lot, right?
Yeah.
He is a massive portion of this team's deaths. It's looking rough right now for KT, and they're trying to go for some cross-map angles, but really much coming to fruition there. Inhibitor tower picked up for DN Supers there, and it's more gold again in their pockets.
Yeah, I would just say that, you know, BDD, he's just really not going to be doing very much damage, and it's not like he had a poor game really at all. There was that one botched fight in the top river, and he did get pretty far behind from that, and obviously the snowballing the Medjais puts Closer so much farther ahead. But really just the effect of the compositions, that they don't have an extra damage source, whereas Dudu is gigantic in this game as well. Yeah. And they've got him alongside of Closer and Duckdom, obviously. As Perfect has to be the front line for this team. As Palu just gonna Hex Flash into half of his, more than half of his health being gone. So, not looking very good for him. At least he does have level 11 and his ult. But the poke is now coming in from the Corki, and the Elder Dragon is alive.
So much damage being put down, and not much in return from KT. Equalizer?
Boy. Yeah, they're just poking him out, and now they're going to go for the engage. Cuz gonna hit Closer. They're desperately trying to take him down. They're not even going to get close, as Closer just dashing on into everyone, takes out Aiming, and that is just going to be the end of the game. TP's going into the bottom lane, and DNS will take game number 1 here in our first series of the LCK Cup.
Yeah, Life chasing down BDD. We'll get flipped away. Maybe BDD can kill him before the Nexus dies. We'll see.
He's emoting.
Oh, man, he's taunting.
Get him, Life.
He's laughing.
Yeah, but as we did mention, that is going to be the end of game number 1. The Nexus is taken down, and the DN Supers, they come in with a new roster, a new name with the Supers, and looking very strong, looking very different from what we saw last year.
Yeah, good start. I think mid-jungle doing a really great job there. Pyoshik and Closer on phenomenal form. The Wukong Ari working to great effect. I think on the side of KT, trying some new things out with the new season. You know, the Malphite jungle coming in, but really so much weight was put on Aiming to be that carry. With an unfavorable lane matchup and them struggling to get the ball rolling early, the momentum just wasn't there when it came to the mid-game. And the Malphite jungle, I'm telling you, we've seen this Malphite jungle pick be really effective and be really strong. Was not sold in that game. Was not sold to us there.
Yeah.
Kind of needs some better targets to ult.
Yeah, I feel like there were definitely a lot of issues, as we saw, especially when he got behind and he didn't have his ult. That one fight where he didn't have his ult and flash, and he threw 2 wagon wheels and then ran away and died. That was just the most sad Malphite fight of all time. You
know, Perfect not really matching up well on the Dudu. This could be a bit of a Dudu resurgence. Definitely a player who's had some huge highs in his career, but we didn't see that last year. But, you know, the solo kill onto the Xante was a great moment in this game and was just doing so much damage with those equalizers later on. But, you know, this is a great start. Great game 1. The DN Supers got to see if they can continue that over the rest of the series.
Says D-Day, this is the day where you guys will win. The DN Supers fighting. And they start off with a good win here in our first game of the day. We'll see you guys after the break for game number 2.
또 W.
해봐 갈게.
이번에 살짝 올게. 딴 데부터 때릴게.
딴데 잡았어.
바깥 해줄게.
나 좀 가볼게.
더 할게.
야 이거 더 가고.
라인 살려서
바텀
끝내자.
바텀으로.
야 탈약 쫓아갈게.
한현이 끊고. 가자. 제 강화기랑 생각.
오케이.
야 이거 들어갈 때 50이 왼쪽 각 넓혀.
근데 뭐 상관없어 그냥 끝날 듯. 야 탈약이. 다 그냥 펼쳐 그냥 내가.
펼쳐 무조건 펼쳐.
펼치면 끝나면.
끝났다. 잘 끝났어. 끊었대.
말파공이 생각보다 일찍 도네. 없는 줄 알았네.
Selection set up here, guys. For
Yeah,
you
I'm
who don't
interested to
know.
see when we get the mold breaker, right? When things change a little bit, but
Yeah. I feel like in the past it was generally Gen G who would try to be like the mold breakers. There were some other teams that would try to do it as well.
okay, here I'm putting you on the spot. Do you think we'll get something different in the first week?
Yeah, I think we'll get something different in the first week.
Okay.
I don't know how many times we'll get it differently, but
At least once.
at least once.
Okay, cool.
But
We'll
yeah,
see.
that's the way it goes. You decide if you want to choose the side or if you want to choose first pick or second pick. KT, they had that first selection for game one. They chose first pick. DNS picked blue. And once again, after losing game one, they had the selection again. They chose first pick, and DNS picked blue. And in game number 3, if we do get there, expecting the same to happen. We'll wait and see. As Nico, Vi, Jace, Azir, same bans here. So far, that is.
Yeah. Seemingly going in a similar direction. I think we probably won't get the Silas ban here, as I imagine that was specifically to allow the Malphite pickup. Yep, so that's going to be changed. We are still on Fearless. Don't currently have the ban champions showing at the moment.
Yeah.
But Malphite was obviously picked up, so not something that's going to be able to be taken there. And for those who are listening, I will just try and prompt some of the picks. So mid coming in, Rise, obviously Talia and Ari saw last game, so those won't be available. Ashe coming through for the DN Supers. I have seen some Ashe support builds.
Yeah.
Probably 80 carry Ashe, but I have seen some Ashe support builds with the Bandle pipes. And then the Mundo quickly coming in. And it was Wukong and Malphite that were picked in the jungle last game that are disabled. In terms of 80 carries, it was Corki and Yunara. Lucian coming through. Lucian very strong in the patch with the use of Essence Reaver. And here's the Braum. Braum kind of the pick of the patch with the Bandle pipes. Lucian Braum, a very strong lane. I would probably say Lucian Braum, maybe one of the strongest bot lanes on the patch. Can be a bit matchup dependent, obviously. There are some lanes that can be a little difficult if they outrange, but both of them massively benefiting from the new items. Essence Reaver for Lucian and Bandle pipes for Braum. So strong, so strong.
Yeah.
And now DN Freaks going for the Victor. So Victor against Rise coming through as the mid lane matchup.
Yeah, very classic mid lane matches that we saw at East Mount last year. As we are going to be getting into the second phase of bans now. DN Supers gonna take away the J4.
Yep. So J4 gone, Wukong obviously and Malphite were the ones, as I mentioned before, gone from Fearless. And top lane, we haven't seen anything picked up yet, presumably. And for top lane, we had Rumble against Cassante taken away. And I'm wondering whether they're going to pick the Perfect. You know, we often see him put on tanks, things like Sion. And obviously we just saw him on the Cassante. But had a rough time into Dudu in the previous game. So we'll see if they can give him a bit of a better matchup or a matchup he's more comfortable with.
Yeah, I think it is important. Definitely still early times here at the LCK Cup. It is indeed match 1. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what he does go for here. Waiting for the final ban from the KT Rolster team. As maybe looking at another support to try to bolster this very strong bottom lane that they do have already. And in fact, it will be the Lulu, so no Ashe Lulu this time around.
Yeah.
Will they flex the Ashe to support? We'll have to wait and see.
I think it's risky into the Lucian Braum. You know, for as much as you have that range to Rast, if a Q connects, can be in trouble. But they go for the Srocker. So you saw the range support bans coming in from KT with the Renard and the Lulu, those Peel Enchanters. And the DN Supers have gone, we're playing ranged into this. You know, and I think some of the lanes that the Lucian Braum can struggle into are those longer range harass lanes. If you get a strong level 1, level 2, you really want like the level 2, 3 spikes for the Lucian Braum. If you're already at a deficit at that point, you might just not get back into it. And also, Lucian can be very burst focused. If you're trying to burst down the Ashe and there's so much sustain coming through, can be a problem. A lot of enchanter items buffed as well, so this Soraka could do some work. We do see Renekton coming through for Perfect, a pick we've seen him play a good amount of times. And now for the jungle pick for Cuz.
Are we going to see a Zac in week 1? I'd like to see it. He was
Lilia.
hovering the Lilia, and you know, Lilia Renekton is strong. Thinking about Sylas instead, so that is going to be the choice here.
Okay, I mean, the Ashe ult is decent. Mundo ult's okay. Soraka can be a funny one.
It depends, yeah.
I mean, kind of like, you know, the reverse Karthus ult. You can help out lanes from a distance. It's going to be a nice one just to pick up as you're going by and then save it for later. Less useful in team fights, though. When obviously, you don't have as much heal and shield power as a Sylas, so it doesn't get as much strength, but early on can be okay. And it's going to be Dudu looking at the Scion this time. So this is very health stacking, lots of healing on the side of the DN Supers. Grievous Wound's going to be an absolute must for KT. And KT, strong mid-game, a lot of damage. Maybe there comes a point in this game where they run out of damage and just aren't able to cut through the front line. But I do think they have a lot of mid-game power. And DN Super's composition feels like maybe might take a bit too long to come online. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like the comp from KT in the last game, except, you know, I don't feel like it spikes quite as hard later on because it's Ashe instead of Yunara. You do have the Victor instead
and
of the Leah, but
the Mundo does a bit more damage, right?
Yeah.
I think it's really going to come down to the bot lane, because if the Ashe Soraka does snowball, I think you're going to be in a much better position. If Ashe gets ahead, you can do a good amount of damage. If they fall behind, I think you're going to be in a rough spot, which we kind of said last game as well for the side of KTs. If bot lane falls behind, it's going to be in a rough spot. So we'll see how that pans out. And also, Grievous Wounds are luxury items, right? That extra 800 gold cost, have to afford that in your build. If you get ahead, it feels much better to be picking up Grievous Wounds and shutting down the healing for the enemy team. But it is definitely going to be a must in this game against this team composition of the DN Supers.
yeah, we get the unrolling Demacia banners here at the GGG Global Park. We're getting ready for game number 2, DN Supers versus KT Rolster. Let's hop on the Rift. All right, here we go, game number 2, as we are getting into the thick of the action. DNS starting off very strong, taking game number 1.
Ghost went heal. I mean, he has Summon a Spellbook, but I really don't like the heal.
I think you would want Ignite.
Yeah, I think Ignite is really important.
Yeah.
Into Soraka.
Maybe you thought aiming would take it.
No.
A little bit of miscommunication, you know, it's a new duo in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think having the extra pressure, really important. And the early Grievous Wounds makes a big difference when you want that early kill pressure, because you're going to get harassed, right, in this lane. And you're kind of looking to find that all-in pressure versus this harass. They're playing super aggressive here. The thing with Soraka is her harass is solid, but the main reason she's so strong is that if you trade abilities with her, she beats almost any support in the game. Like here, you land a Q, she lands a Q, but her Q heals her. So she's still full HP, and you're now not full HP.
Yeah.
Which
also,
is why,
yeah.
even against harass-heavy supports like Karma, Soraka can be really frustrating, because Q for Q, Soraka wins, right? But Braum isn't Karma. He doesn't have nearly as much harass as a Karma.
Yeah. And, I mean, you're Lucian level 1. You're not really going to be able to do much against the Volley Ashe at this level, down on range as well. Dudu playing Scion into Renekton. We've seen this a million times. We're going to see it again. The top lane continues to just inspire tons of joy here in 2026.
Oh, also Ghost didn't go the approach velocity Braum tech, which I love seeing. You know, a little bit disappointed. Especially with the Bandle Pipes, that feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is time to talk a little bit about the Bandle Pipes for those who haven't seen it. New item, support item, costs 2,000 gold. Very cheap, even for a support item. A lot of support items are like 2,200. When you slow an enemy, so it works differently for ranged and melee. For ranged, it gives more stats and longer duration. But it's AoE, it gives 30% attack speed for 8 seconds, and it gives the holder 20 movement speed. So on Braum, who slows with every Q, it's great. And giving everyone attack speed to stack your passive, it's really great. So it's part of the reason Braum is so strong.
Dudu's back.
I'm
gonna say it. It's day one, but Dudu's back.
Yeah, guys, you don't pick Renekton to lose level 3 to Sion. I'm just gonna point it out. Not going so hot right now for Perfect.
Yeah. Dudu's back in action. Very excited, as we do know he's capable. Aiming just gonna sit and get rooted. Not exactly the best situation, but they were able to push the wave in, so...
Yeah, they really want to push it and potentially get a reset in and heal up, because if you look at the inventories, there's a lot more health potions on one side than the other. Aiming and Ghost having to use their health as a resource to get out of this lane. Aiming will be able to get a back in now. Opts for... Okay, he does pick up a health potion. I was thinking he was just going to go items, no health potion. Refillable would feel really good, but doesn't quite have the money for it right now. And that's the thing. You are weathering the storm as this Lucian Braum until you find an all-in angle. But as I was saying before, without the Ignite, thinner windows, he does have the spellbook. So I'm kind of looking for a point at which he does switch to Ignite later on. And that helps to signify, hey, it's go time.
It's going to be obvious, too, to the side of DNS when that is.
Yeah.
It's like, Braum has switched to Ignite. Whoa,
I wonder what's that?
What did he mean by that? It's impossible to know.
Is he cold? It is quite cold in Korea right now.
It's
the ice outside.
It's going to be -10 Celsius tonight.
Oh, man.
I don't know what is going on. Well, I guess winter.
It's very slippery as well.
Yeah.
Be careful out there if you're in Korea right now, which you are. So be careful.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I am real, not AI in this case. Perfect is just really getting bullied here.
Yeah.
Sion doing Sion things.
No, this shouldn't be happening. The Renekton tends to do better in this matchup. But they do play it really well.
I see Sion and I see him in the early games and I'm like, nah, he's just gonna win every early game. It's just the way it goes.
So Renekton losing the early top matchup. BDD's doing fine. Bot lane, Aiming and Ghost, I think they're doing okay, but they're not exactly ahead or anything. They are still down in gold, but they're weathering the storm okay. Oh, hit! I don't know why, but I just got it mixed up that it's his tower. I was like, hit the crystalline.
No, he's farming under his...
I'm gonna blame the new side flip him. That's what I'm gonna blame it on. You know.
That's a good one. One of our new changes here. The poke is pretty insane. It's Ash and
the dragon's helping.
And the dragon is helping. So. They don't really have any business in that river anymore. You know, the Infernal Dragon does, have you seen the new cinematic? It does look a bit like Shyvana when she's a dragon in the new cinematic. Did you see it when she was fighting the Elder Dragon? It was pretty neat. Yes.
Yeah. So
let's talk about proxying a little bit here, Ox, because we do see that Perfect has elected to go ahead and proxy the Sion.
Yeah, proxying's OP. Because the area in which you're in top lane extends behind the enemy turret, so you can proxy and you're still in top lane, but if you were that same position behind your turret, you wouldn't be in top lane. There's like, you know, shout out Watley for like carving out with blue trinkets the different areas of what is in top lane, and making it very clear in a tweet so people can see. Closer in trouble.
Yeah, Sun is going to come in, Silas here as well. Easy first blood given over to Cuz. Closer doesn't even elect to flash, as now being kited out here. The Braum not exactly enjoying himself. Ghost getting super low, has to flash. And the pain continues for the KT bottom lane. Yeah, bottom lane matchup not going too hot right now. Starting to really pull behind in terms of CS, and now Ghost has to back. Does have TP though, get back into lane, but that means no Ignite can be available immediately. But yeah, the point I was making about top lane, so with these quests, with the laners in particular, you get like passive build-up for your quests. And just being in lane speeds it up massively. Closer was trying to do that, and it was rudely interrupted by the gang squad. No, you don't get to be in lane. No quest building up for you. And he's sent back home. Yeah. We did see BDD's quest was delayed pretty decently compared to Closer's in the last game. I think, so the numbers on it, it's almost 5 times faster. Just short, it's like 4.8 times faster, the passive build-up off your quest if you're like in your lane area compared to out of it, and it contributes a lot. It's a big contribution to your quest just being in lane. So if you're roaming or if you're forced back, you want to make it quick. And
and you want to get value from it. So I feel like whenever you're going somewhere else, you want to make sure you're getting like tangible value. Obviously, things like takedowns give quest contributions. So it's like if you go somewhere, get a neutral objectives do too, right? But you want to get that because if you just leave lane and come back for nothing, you kind of feel bad.
Which, as we're both alluding to, BDD ended up TPing to bottom lane in the last game, essentially got nothing, and then also did go for a gank later on. At least he did get the assist later. But again, he was behind like 2-3 minutes on the quest completion on closer.
Takedowns are worth less if you're... no, I think takedowns are worth the same, whether or not you're in lane. But I know turrets and plates are worth more in your lane as well. Yeah, that's it. So minions, turrets, plates are worth more in your lane. Takedowns are worth the same anywhere. And epic monsters too. So if you roam and get those, it can be pretty good. But even then, like, I think it's hard not to lose points by roaming, even if you get moderate value. I think here, picking up a dragon is pretty nice, right? The neutral objectives give a good amount, so I don't think you can feel too bad about it.
Yeah, they got the dragon, KT did, whereas DNS did get 3 of the grubs. Coach voice.
용준아, 미드 빡뛰어서 일자 쪽 관리해주자, 일자. 미드 일자.
네.
끌어먹던 거.
나 이번에 밀고 갈게.
문도가 미드 바텀 쪽으로 나올 거야. 먼저 나와서 일단 조심.
So basically just macro calls there. Thank you, G-Sun. Couldn't quite catch what they were saying. And a lot of it is the coaches coming in. They're not coming in and making gigantic, you know, game-changing statements. But so far, especially because it was the first... you know, it's the first day, and this is the first time we're using the coach voice feature.
Yeah, and the thing is,
they're not trying to do anything crazy.
The coaches are going to be new to this as well, right?
Yeah.
This is a new... Oh, all in from perfect top.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets a kill, but it's a new thing for the coaches as well, so they're still going to be refining.
All right, trying to go for the all-in, but instead Ghost is met with a giant arrow to the face.
Yeah, it's not going to find any angles really here, and just kind of getting bullied out in the meantime. As I was saying, the coaches, it's kind of going to be a learning curve, like what information is useful, what is helpful, how much should we give, when should we give it. It's still a very new thing for them, and finding out how can we best help out the teams. But seeing KT, you know, they obviously in the first game came in at one point, and then coming in here as well. I expect the majority of it to be these kind of informing about macro situations, being like, hey, this is what we think we should do, or we think this, we've spotted this, or this or that or this. Remember, they only get the perspective, they don't get like full both teams' vision. You know our point of view where we see the spectator view of both sides? They don't get that. The coaches don't get that. That would obviously not make any sense.
They're ganking you right now!
They'd be pretty unbalanced. So they only have similar information to what KT has, but still, that extra set of eyes can be very useful when the player's obviously focused on things like laning and such. But I think when you're in the middle of a fight, it's going to be difficult to really contribute when it's already often so chaotic already. So I expect it to be more macro things, or more like, guys, lock in. Guys, stop trolling.
Stop playing like that.
Guys, don't do that.
You're
again.
better than this.
You know, the stuff you'd wait till after the game to say, just say, guys, what are you doing? That's what I would say as a coach. I'd come and be like, come on, guys, step it up.
Yeah. And that's why Ox is here, casting with me. As Pyosik,
hey, it's good advice.
Mundo. So I'm not really sure if they're going to be able to do much to him. I don't think they have the damage just yet, especially with the Silas and the Rise. Closer does come in, and now they're staying around for quite a long time. So a second rotation comes in, and Pyosik will be forced to flash away. As the arrow comes in, we'll be missing both of them. Perfect. Yeah. Very low in the top lane.
He is just getting bullied out again in this lane. Has gone for that early Tiamat and is nearly finished the call, but he is just not having a fun time. Dudu is thriving. Is it the year of Dudu? It's early to say, but I think it is.
It's day one. I think you and I are both on the...
There is never a better time to say it's the year of Dudu.
I love day one overreactions. Week one overreactions are good as well.
Yeah. He's just bullying him out.
Perfect's kind of just wandering around.
Yeah. World finalist, Dudu's like, I don't care about that. It's the year of Dudu. That's what he said.
Year of Dudu,
if we got to listen to his comms, he would have said that himself, I'm sure. He would have said, year of Dudu, quote me on that.
Yeah. Well, we didn't need to hear it. We already know it, Dudu, don't you worry. As the quests are coming in, does look like VDD, you know, helping get that kill onto Closer. He's going to be the one person that gets the quest first ahead of his opponents. Everybody else on the side of DNS got their quest done first ahead of KT. So, as you can see, things going pretty well in the quest department for them. The gold still slightly in favor of KT. They also have that first dragon. They've got a kill onto the Silas. And so they're feeling pretty good about that. Perfect continuing to just try to proxy, and so will Dudu.
Doctam's going Essence Reaver Ash, which is not something I've seen. You know, the Essence Reaver did get buffed massively, and obviously Ash has a low cooldown W to proc it, but you tend not to see Essence Reaver Ash. You tend to see like Kraken Slayer or Yuntao.
Like auto attack focused Ash.
Auto attack, either like crit Ash or on hit Ash.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, especially because we talked about how this composition was lacking. Like, you have 2 threats on this composition. You need them to be pumping damage. So he's up to the Essence Reaver here. It does mean he'll have plenty of mana. That's something to be said. We do have new support items coming out as well. I talked a little bit about the Bandle Pipes, which Ghost has, no surprise, because it's really strong with Braum. We might see it in action here if he hits a Q. No.
Nope. We almost saw it.
Almost saw it.
Yeah.
And Life has gone for the new support tier item. I forgot what it's called when it's not upgraded, but it's the diadem when it's upgraded. Yeah. And basically, it gives you, you know how like every tier item gives you a stat based on your mana? This one gives heal and shield power, and also for every second in... Oh.
Wait, he hit him with that volley. I don't know how he did not quite know that Cuz was in the brush, but yeah, ends up using his cleanse and his flash, even though the volley, yeah. I heard the sounds of the volley hitting, so maybe for some reason he did not. Either way, that is going to be a nice follow-up kill here for the mid-jungle duo of KT.
Yeah, a little bit of an oopsie there from Doctam, and both summons down, and the Soraka ult to try and save him. So let's see this again.
And listen as well.
And because it's like, oh, he saw me. He starts to walk away, and he's like, no, he's still coming. Maybe Doctam was like, that brush is acting weird today.
Must be a new change in 2026, you know? Like, if you hit the brush with the volley, it makes a sound.
Yeah, maybe he thought it went a bit further and it hit like the Raptors.
That would be a lot further.
Yeah.
It was like max range hitting the brush.
Maybe he just didn't, I don't know. I'm making excuses. Who really knows?
Yeah, our Worlds finalists are kind of struggling today. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah. The thing I was saying about the DNM when it's completed, every second you're in combat, it heals someone nearby. So when Life has his tier fully stacked, it's going to be pretty nice, pretty good. But he's a long way away from that. You often see people don't finish, like they get the tier and then they build another item. So it's interesting he finished it when he only has 144 tier stacks. Some perhaps non-optimal item finishing scenarios here, but you know.
Yes.
Okay, Ghost didn't hit a Q again.
Yeah, Ghost obviously, okay, engage Braum coming on in, and Doctam has no sums, so that's a free kill for KT.
Okay, you know what's really sad? Is when you hit with your Q, when you're playing a champion with Bandle Pipes, it puts a circle around you, and you can see who's getting the buff, right? And it's got good vibes to it. I've just lit it now. In Spectator, it doesn't do that. So we don't get to see the Bandle Pipe vibes, unfortunately. And I'm just very sorry to everyone watching, because I really sold this item as a great experience, and we're being denied the Bandle Pipe vibes. It was a whole party.
I'm sure it'll be fixed in the future. We're on 26.1.
I want everyone to know. It's a party, you know? Everyone's invited to the Bandle Pipes. And everyone loves pipe-based instruments, like bagpipes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other pipe-based instruments are there?
I think those are the two. I mean, it does just look like bagpipes, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
It is.
I think it's a bit of a reference, yeah. So
Scotland reference?
So goes with the engage here. No circle, unfortunately.
Yeah, no circle. Tragic. But a good pick. Doctam that summon is a little bit vulnerable. And the Essence Reaver Ash, he bought the Essence Reaver and he died twice. So I don't know what the takeaway is, but I'm not being sold. We can't really blame the Essence Reaver for that, but I'm choosing to.
Yeah, It's not necessarily the build you see nowadays, but it does feel pretty strong on the right champions, such as Lucian. They're really struggling in the lane, but now Aiming's 1-0. He's ahead on farm. He's ahead on gold.
And he has the 2-item spike on the Lucian. The Essence Reaver Navori is so nice. I mean, it was already good before, but now with the Sheen procs and the fact you're reducing your cooldowns with the Navori, this is prime Lucian sort of vibes.
Yeah. So we don't get the vibes from the Braum, but we get it from the Lucian.
Well, he does actually get them. We just don't get to see it. We just don't get to witness it.
You don't get to experience the vibes alongside of Aiming.
Yeah, it's KT only. It's a KT only party, and we're not invited.
Yeah. So Aiming, you know, he was kind of the main carry of the last game, or he was meant to be.
Oh.
Didn't really end up hitting that.
I just saw the Seraphs came through for Rise, and I had a bit of information that is new, that's completely irrelevant, that I'll get to later, 'cause it looks like we're having a fight. Yeah, completely irrelevant. You know what else they changed? You can now buy, so once you've fully stacked your tier item, you can buy a new tier and make another. And it's irrelevant because it's not going to happen this game, and probably we're not going to see it for a while, but I wanted to bring it up because I missed that so much. So if BDD wanted to, he could build another tier right now and start stacking.
Yeah.
He could get 4 tier items if he really wanted to.
And he is Rise.
Nothing's stopping him.
Mana.
Except the one to win the game.
Yeah, I do think eventually, you know, on the right champions, perhaps we will get to see it.
We saw it on Ezreal, I think.
Ezreal.
In the season opening.
Yeah.
When the Seraphs after the Mermana.
So that'll be one where you see it, I think, from time to time.
It's great for ARAM Mayhem, right? When you get like Overflow or Mind to Matter.
And you're stacking it very quickly because...
Yeah, stacks faster in ARAM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Summoner's Rift less so. But some good pressure coming up from KT. 3 Dragons in pocket, 4.5k the lead. Baron nearly up as well, so something they can look towards too. This is the kind of momentum that you definitely want with this composition. And now Piff looking for Dudu.
I mean, really long lane here. We do have the Bramble Vest completed, and Dudu is quite tanky, but again, Perfect given so much time and is going to force the flash as an arrow even. Aiming, didn't look like he saw that one, but still was able to dodge it.
Yeah, I felt like he kind of dodged after it, missed him, you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Close call.
I'm not sure it would have really done anything if I had hit, other than a bit of frustration. But KT with the pressure now, you know, despite the fact Dudu was doing so well in lane, kind of hard for this Sion to really make impact on his own.
Really wants to hit the overgrowth.
Okay, I am all for people being free thinkers. And I am never someone to say, don't build how you want to build. But what is Doctor cooking right now? What?
You know, I think he's a little confused by the new season changes. Just like
SG Fiend Hunter? What is the thought process? You fire your Ash Arrow and then... What? I'm so confused.
Yeah, I mean...
You ult and then your first auto is just jacked with the Sheen proc and the Fiend Hunter?
Sure.
I don't know. I'm very scared.
You're going to have to see it in action.
I don't think I want to. It does give the ultimate ability haste, right? So maybe he's just trying to be an ult bot, but they only have 2 damage threats. So maybe being an ult bot isn't a good idea.
Yeah.
This is some dark tech. I don't know, I've not seen this. If this is some dark tech I'm missing out on, I want no part of it.
I for one, welcome the weird new stuff. So keep it going, Duckdom. I don't care if you lose personally. Just, you know, show us the new stuff. It's day number 1. That's one.
You know what? They are 1-0 up in the series, right? So if you're gonna experiment, now is the time.
Well, Duckdom is experiencing a culling to the back, and it doesn't quite feel so great, but he does have a Soraka. So the poke is not the end of the world, and he should be just fine.
Okay, I'm going to say something as well. So with tier, you obviously stack it from hitting stuff. You can also stack it by using beneficial spells on allies. I feel like Life hasn't been doing that, because remember ages ago I said he was on like 144 stacks.
Yeah.
Look at his stacks now.
Yeah, he's not... Is he going to finish stacking this item by the end of the game? Or are KT going to end it first?
He needs to stack this item. It's only good when you finish stacking it. You need to, like... Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think the DN Super's bot lane maybe cooked a little bit too much, right? Maybe a little bit too much.
Well, we already saw one support subbed out today. There's still time for a second one to be subbed out if KT win game 2. And not stacking a tier isn't necessarily a good reason to sub out a support, but we do know who is on the bench. Another Worlds finalist.
Yep.
Peter. And a guy who has a lot of time spent playing alongside a Duckdom through thick and thin, you know, through the good times and the bad.
Through the essence of Fiend Hunter bolts.
Yeah. Fortunately, Peter has not experienced that on stage yet.
Oh.
But there's still opportunity for that to happen as well.
Who am I to judge?
Oh, little stolen arrow.
Oh, that did
cleanse.
damage. That's some AP behind that ult, you know?
Yeah.
But then they just kind of cleanse and walk it off. They did also heal as well. That seemed a little necessary, but I guess the movement speed, maybe? A little spooked.
Yeah.
What is that TP? Look at this TP on the minimap. What was that TP? Oh, he wanted the health shield, I guess? No, I can't justify that.
That can't be a thing.
I mean, is he just TPing for the shield? That must be it. I can't see any other justification. He just
really,
TP'd for the shield.
Yeah.
He wants that fat shield.
And
honestly, I respect it.
Is coming up here in 5 seconds.
I respect it. He wants to be thick. And look at that shield.
It's like buying an elixir right before an important fight, except you use your teleport for it. And so Cuz is here, and he's like, yeah, I can't really do damage through this gigantic shield.
It is such a big shield.
It's really sizable. As the culling gonna hit basically nobody, and now the Mundo ultimate is stolen, but the Scion is so tanky. Down it goes the shield, and now we got a Renekton in the back line. Tons of damage, sometimes just dives, and Perfect is unkillable. It's a rout in this one, and KT essentially 5 for 0 in the team fight. Absolutely slaughter them.
Absolute massacre, and it just really looked like some of the technology from the side of the DN Supers wasn't really coming together. Just brute force through them. We see, so the shield, it only lasts 30 seconds, and I think it starts to time out like now. Like that's his own shield's W. So his shield is just like gone. And then the fight starts, and they're trying to play around this gravity field, but it times out, Perfect jumps in, they just annihilate Duckdom. So the Fiend Hunter didn't even really get any value, and then they just roll through them.
나이스! 0보다 0보다.
Love to see it.
Very happy is Ghost, as they should be.
And you know what? If he wins this game, that's 100% support win rate for Ghost.
And it's only the beginning. Only the beginning for this this player.
Here's the question I'm really asking though. Will Life be able to stack this?
Yeah, I'm very curious. Yeah. I'm going to say no. I think he doesn't finish it.
You don't think he... Yeah, honestly, it's looking that way.
It's a 12,000 gold lead almost. And KT have this comp that's very reliable for setting up fights with the Silas, the Rise, trying to get in there, and just a bunch of beefy targets that they can hit. They can force an objective right now.
Aiming also has the Model Reminder, which I think, even though they added Giant Slayer back to LDR, so it does like extra damage based on the highest percent, more health the target has compared to you, like it used to.
Well, he went into his own jungle. He thought it was his jungle. It's not.
So even though LDR is really good against a health stacking team like DN Supers has, I think there's so much healing on the enemy team. They were clearly like, look, we need a consistent Grievous Wounds applier. And even though Cuz had it, they're like, Mortal Reminders to play here.
Yeah. Trying to step up and do extra damage speed at E. They will. It's kind of bleeding here. Obviously, the Baron was taking the stolen Soraka
the cheeky, just a little bit of sustain.
Yeah.
And then back to work.
Oh, they found Closer in transition. He's just dead. And see you later. There's no way that Life is going to stack this up. He is dead now. 308. He's
not even far away.
So
he's not going to get it.
It is so doomed.
It's so over.
Still the year of Dudu, I think, but we'll have to wait and see how that continues. Here after game 2 is an absolute stomp from KT Rolster. Pioshik says, I'll go down this time, and that he will. The Nexus is taken out, and 27 minutes, KT will tie it up and bring us to a game number 3.
Wow, 0 kills there for the DN Supers. You know, they started this season so strong in that game 1. And game 2, snap back to reality.
Yeah.
There's still a game 3 though. There's still a chance to bounce back. I think there's some things to look at. I kind of love the Ultimate Bravery build from Dokdam. Wasn't convinced by it. If there's some dark technology there, you know, keep that to yourself. Haven't you seen the compositions lacking damage have struggled a little bit, unsurprisingly.
Whoa. This is actually so cool.
That is actually sick.
I think that's Patamon, right? And
I'm not Wolf. You'll have to
I don't
ask
think
him.
that's Agumon. I think it must be some kind of Digivolve of Agumon, just based on the color in the ears.
Wolf is on the space. He will.
Yeah, he'll know.
He will verify everything.
We'll get the update from Wolf. And yeah, that goal difference graph really told the story.
We need like a tiers stacked, and life is just 0. BDD 1. Yeah, I was a little bit unconvinced by some things from DN Supers this game, but Dudu still playing great, you know? So credit to him. Perfect having a little bit of a tough time, but kind of picked it up later in the team fights on the Renekton. But now, first series of the LCK Cup, and we're going to 3.
Makes a lot of sense. It's 1-1. We'll be back after the break.
또 봐줄게.
내쪽 사지 말자. 괜찮아.
탑해 얘들아. 됐어요 그냥.
사이언 반피야, 사이언 반피.
나 미드 혼자 할게.
야, 경험 볼게.
야 볼게.
야, 우리 빅토르 이거 봐줘. 야, 소라까지 볼게.
오케이.
노플.
이거까지.
봐도 돼. 나 미카엘 돼. 봐봐. 나이스. 좋잖아, 얘들아.
들어갈게.
완승.
미드 죽여. 또 올게.
좋았다. 형이야.
But if KT loses, it's going to be an upset, and it's going to feel pretty bad to go down your first series of the LCK Cup. So this is a point where really you want to lock in and play something you feel very comfortable on. We do now have our Fearless bans back, so you can see. Obviously, we had Fearless all of last year, and it is continuing into this year, so you can see in front of you what has been taken away.
Yeah. I do like that they group it as well into, like, you know, mid and different roles and stuff like that.
This is where I like it. It's a lot easier to keep track on, because especially once a role has been picked, you can kind of disregard that section mentally and just out of sight, out of mind. I'm not looking at it. I don't care.
Yeah. And we can already disregard top right from the get-go, even though nothing has been picked. Another Jace ban going to be coming through here, so that's 3 times in a row.
Yeah, in Jason Malphite were very high prior in the Casper Cup, so a lot of priority put towards them. Vi and Nico, you know, LCK does very much love their engage picks, and those two still a ton of priority. And Nico, Vi, Orianna going to be banned by KT here. So similar bans, just shaken up a bit, and it's the Poppy that is the new ban instead of the Cassiopeia, which was banned last time by KT. Now, Besta comes through, probably for top lane, even though it can now be played in jungle. Have seen it more in the top lane, not been as convinced the jungle, but could be a flex in theory. Aphelios picked up for aiming. One of those picks that we very much attribute to Dokdam, now being picked by his opponent, and Cuz with his signature J4.
Yeah, J4 going to be coming through. Definitely a big one for the side of Cuz. And we'll have to wait and see if he is going up against Hambessa or something else. Nocturne looking to be locked in here.
And this is a good pickup, especially into the Aphelios. You definitely need some backup, because if the Aphelios gets fed, can be a struggle when you get up in his face with the right gun orientation. He can just kind of solo you, but definitely as part of a dive composition can cause some issues for him. And the Ziggs comes through for Docdown, we presume. Been seeing a lot of talk about mages in the bot lane, benefiting a good amount from the support quest, the extra gold income. A lot of mage items can be cheaper. You can hit that 6 items, I mean effectively 7 items, sooner than an AD carry and get the benefit from that quest. And also Interfelios pretty good because you don't have to close distance with him, you can outrange him. And when Nocturne goes in, you have that ult to follow up, that extra damage. Now Thresh comes through for Ghost. Not a pick we see that often, but really wanted to provide that safety, that element of survivability for the Aphelios. And speaking of safety as well, it's another reason why I think the Ziggs are so good here into the Jarvan. We saw Chovy last year picking Ziggs when Jarvan was taken, because that satchel get you straight outside of the Cataclysm.
Yeah.
So it does make me wonder what Closer's going to take in the mid lane, because obviously if Ziggs isn't a great target for Jarvan, and you pick something in the mid lane that is, you're going to be under a ton of pressure. We've already seen like the Ahri taken away as something that can obviously get out of the Cataclysm easily, so we'll see what goes there. The Nautilus ban comes through. I know a lot of people like the Nautilus in the Thresh matchup. Some people favor it one way or the other. I personally don't like Nautilus when there's a Jarvan about, because the Cataclysm really disrupts your ability to play fights. Leona Ziggs can often be quite popular, but Thresh pretty good in Leona. You can fly away from the Xanth Blade. But we will see a Carly ban comes out away from BDD.
Yeah, just trying to cut off as much of his pool as they possibly can. And yeah, I mean, all those things you said about Ziggs and the new changes on 2026, they all make a lot of sense. But Ziggs was already really good, especially in like a Game 2 or Game 3 of a fearless position last year. So
I think some changes have been good for him, some changes have been bad. I'll probably talk about them more in game, but it's kind of a mixed bag. How I feel we have lots of time. Leona ban does come out. Leona Ziggs was one of the most popular combos. That extra damage on his with the Leona passive really syncing well with him for the burst. So now seeing what the DN Supers will ban, going for the Mel ban as their final takeaway. And Mel, a pick, I feel like with a lot of power. Definitely did get toned down a bit because that root was super strong.
Yeah.
But taking that one away from BDD. And I imagine you're going to pick up... I mean, they could take top here in this situation because the Ambassador's already been shown. So they are going to look for the Rex side, which was a pretty popular pick at Worlds. Saw a lot of play to middling success, honestly. Flandre was phenomenal on it, the top laner for AL. He was popping off, but there were some other top laners who weren't having nearly as much success. So we'll see how Perfect can do. Obviously, he had a lot of time at Worlds to get acclimated with the pick. And on the other side, we're going to see Rel to provide some engage for that setup for the Ziggs. And the Aurora, which, you know, I was talking about, you don't want to be a good target for the J4. Aurora, very hard for the J4 to be a threat for. So it makes a lot of sense. There is now no one really good on the side of the DN Supers to Cataclysm. Nocturne is probably the best, and he can just ult out, so...
Oh, BDD Zoe, it's happening here in the first series of 2026 for KT Rolster. And we got to see a bit of this towards the end of last year, and it does feel like BDD is one of the guys where you're always happy to see pick something up like the Zoe.
Yeah, provides a lot of poke threat, so if there's ever a situation where both teams are set up, the Zoe throwing those trouble bubbles will be so frustrating. But the DN Supers have their dive composition together, so they have an answer to that. They just need to find an angle to close distance. I feel like breaking towers is going to be super important, which is nice when you have a Ziggs, because you want there to be as much open space as possible when KT approach an objective. You don't want them to be able to fire Sleepy Trouble Bubbles from right next to a turret, otherwise you can't Nocturne engage. You want them to be overextended, you want to be able to ult and have them have to run super far back to a tower, so you can easily take out that Zoe. I do like the composition the DN Supers have, but BD Zoe always puts some fear into anyone's heart.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun position where, you know, we weren't exactly expecting the Supers to show up in a huge way. KT were the heavy favorites coming into this one, and now kind of forcing BDD onto one of his pocket picks in the Zoe in game number 3. And with Supers, with a very nice comprehensive draft, have a good shot here in game 3.
Feels like a lot of comfort for KT right now.
Yeah, absolutely does, as it looks like we are ready. Let's hop on the rip for KT Rolster versus DN Supers.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
You know, something I feel like we haven't really talked about, which we talked about a lot in the season opening, but we haven't really talked about yet today, is the Phalites.
The Phalites, yeah.
The Phalites, you know, I was just thinking about that. And there's been a lot of discussion generally online about them and how they've changed the vision game, kind of simplified it in some ways. They're these spots that you really heavily want to contest. For those who aren't familiar, when you put a ward in these Phalites, you can see them on the minimap. These little, like, sort of, what color are they? Almost like a beige, like little dots. You can see the two of them in the river. Yellow, maybe. They make your ward radius bigger, and then it also, for 45 seconds, I think it is, it expands like vision over a wider area. So it's really good to have a ward there, but obviously the downside is it makes it very obvious where you're gonna have wards. Oh, Docdam is in trouble.
Yeah, they went for a very aggressive trade down on health.
Yeah, and also
with the Ziggs level 1.
Yeah, Ziggs level 1. Not the play into Aphelios, because Aphelios just autos you with the Calibrum, and your Q is on like a 6-second cooldown, and when you hit it, you're like, nice, see you in 6 seconds. So he will TP back to lane, and Rel will run back with Home Guard, so not going to miss too much, but not an ideal start in this bot lane matchup.
Yeah, I didn't see the Flay come through after the engage from the Crashdown, so maybe they were saying, okay, Thresh is down as Flay, we can get a good trade here, but instead, what we saw was a level 1 Rel being bullied, and little to zero follow-up after the Crashdown.
I think so. You just get auto down is the problem. You know, like even if you get that initial bit of damage, you're not going to kill him, and you just get auto down. So risky play that will be punished a little bit, but again, I don't think he's going to miss a ton of XP. Is going to be down a bit in farm, and obviously that impacts the role quest. As someone was talking about earlier, so every laner gets points from their role quest. If you're in the right lane, it's 2, but for bot lane specifically, it's 3 points per CS. So it's more for bot lane than any other lane. That's kind of like the extra emphasis is put on farm in the bot lane. So it becomes really important that you're hitting your farm. Interesting enough, mid lane, it's damage you deal to your opponent in the mid lane is an extra factor.
Yeah. Lots of trading back and forth, and makes the trades fun once again, or at least
BDD doing that, you know, it's just getting you more points towards your quest.
We're taking a look at a little fight over the Scuttle Crab. It looks like Pyosik is going to get it, as there's the Flay denying the Crashdown this time. They turn to engage on the Light, but the damage is not there. Aiming kind of zoned out for quite a while, but now he gets in, and the damage, they're in spades. They pick up 2 kills, and KT, a gigantic fight in the bottom river, going to get them pretty far ahead.
I think this is a huge mistake going for this sort of play from the side of the DN Supers, because you need to have the backing of your mid laner, and if the mid laner is coming in, a Zoe joining a fight late is so scary, because she's picking up summoners. Everyone has their summoners available early, so there's going to be options to pick those up. But in the end, what ended up happening is DN Supers just kind of crumbled before that was even a factor. We see how it plays out, so it's this heavy commit for the Scuttle Crab. Docdam is kind of zoning, aiming away in this situation. It's a good Flay from Ghost, needs higher level, but BDD hasn't routed. BDD's moving in, and then he joins the fight, and Closer and Docdam are like, we need to get out. But like, you can't even commit summoners, because if you start flashing, to extend the fight, that's just giving more power to the Zoe. It's just giving more tools to the enemy mid laner. So a poor fight, I feel like, for the DN Supers to take, and KT responding well. And now, if I'm thinking about how this game is going to go, the fact that we have an early lead for Cousin BDD on 2 of their very comfortable champions is a great start.
Yeah, I mean, Game 1 was definitely dominant for the Supers. Game 2 was extremely dominant for KT, kind of more of what we were expecting, and maybe we just get a Game 3 that looks a lot like Game 2, where it's, you know, the favorites, they come in, they get a lead, they don't lose it, and it ends up just being a one-sided affair.
Life is so, I mean, he just hit level 3, but he's a full level down on Ghost. And it's not like Docdam's benefited, really. I mean, he's a bit ahead in XP when this wave is going to crash in, but yeah, the bot lane 2v2 is in a little bit of a rough spot.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them, especially after a trade like this. The barrier is going to come through, and looks like Docdam is fine, but still, beneficial trade for the side of KT. Had to use the summoner for it, but they're trying to put on as much pressure as possible And Cuz, in the meanwhile, is looking to take the Chemtech Dragon. Might just be able to do that, especially with the help of his bottom lane. And try to get ahead and get one of these early objectives for the team. And Life, alongside of the Ziggs, not really able to do much at all about this from behind. So there's the Chemtech Dragon over to KT.
Yep, mid lane, pretty big advantage. Not just that kill and assist, but also pretty solid farm lead for BDD over closers. So not a great start there. Bot lane got that farm lead as well. Top is doing fine. Honestly, if you're keeping even with a Rek'Sai, Rek'Sai is one of these picks where you tend to just win lane with it and sustain through so many trades. So if you're doing well in the top lane matchup into a Rek'Sai, you're feeling good. But that is kind of the only shining light for DN Supers right now. That being said, they do have a Nocturne, so you're not too upset if not much is coming from the jungle till 6. Obviously, not dying early would have been good, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it was such a weird fight. It was like, you know, just happened to find themselves in a fight after Pyosik was like, I need this Scuttle Crab. You know?
Yeah, and Life
it felt very forced.
Life was down, Doctor had no flash, mid lane had just taken a bad trade. There was a lot of conditions that were like, you really want to go for this?
Yeah.
But now both junglers hit level 6, so that Paranoia is available. And especially when you're already 0-1 in this game, that fierce Paranoia is going to be so make or break. Something we often talk about as well is the fact that the ultimate hunter stacks, if you get a kill or assist, you get those stacks, so your subsequent ults are more, well, I mean, the first one obviously used the ult to get it, so it's not going to impact that. But like, the more ultimate hunter stacks you get, the more your ult's available, which is great on Nocturne. So getting early momentum on Nocturne, getting successful ults off is a big factor. So I'm really interested to see how Pyosik uses his first ult and if it's successful. BDD is down flash, but it's coming up pretty soon. So if they want to look there, the timer is perhaps now or never. You can see him hovering around mid.
Yeah. They're going to go for it. Just to use his portal jump, and a bunch of damage goes in, but it's not going to get the lethal. As Cuz is here, now trying to turn it around, and the burst is insane. Closer gets taken out by Cuz. And Pyosik trying to trade here with the TP coming in from Life. That's not really going to help out all too much.
Yeah, that is kind of
lane.
Worst case scenario for the first ult is that you don't get the kill. And the thing is, because BDD didn't even have flash, his flash is going to come back up, and you can't even like repeat that play. It's not like you burn his flash and you're going to get a kill next time. He didn't have his flash, and you didn't even get the kill. So really unfortunate for the DN Supers. Great response by KT. And I also think the way BDD was playing was kind of what made it. It's like he expected it and was playing in such a good way. Going to come through, and it does unfortunately miss. But now Cuz has that Sundered Sky already, that one-item spike. We'll see the replay. So if you look, BDD's playing super far back, uses the ult from a distance. He's playing defensively, knows the threat, goes under tower, and then just can't follow up. Yeah. And the bubble connect in return.
The fact that he's Zoe helps a lot, right? Because he can do an insane amount of damage from very far away for very little risk.
Yeah.
In a scenario like that.
And BDD, because this mid-jungle has been together so long, and I feel like of all the mid-jungles, their synergy is just some of the best, right? You know, you think of like Faker Owner is another example of a really strong mid-jungle, but BDD Cuz definitely last year showing the power of this duo together and displaying that once again here.
Yeah, they're kind of insane, and they really haven't missed a beat. I don't feel like Game 1 was their issue at all. As Pyosik in a lot of trouble here. He's pretty close to his base, though, and it looks like he should be okay. But the fact that Cuz comes in with the one-item power spike of the Sun Sky and just bullies this early on is a bad sign, to say the least. Amy and Ghost also doing their fair share of bullying in the bottom lane.
Yeah, every lane going a little bit rough. I mean, apart from top. Top's fine. Doo-doo, still the year of Doo-doo.
Still the year of Doo-doo. Yep.
Still the year of Doo-doo.
We have not given up on that yet.
We're still hyping it up.
All right, trying to make a play here, but the
nice play
is very good into Life. Gonna have to probably flash in the future if the play is available, and he wants to make sure that the engage connects. So, kind of sitting on over a 2,000 gold lead, and already KT, yes, the top Rek'Sai isn't winning, but I think they're okay to have the gold where they have it.
I mean, the top Rek'Sai is a top Rek'Sai, right? Yeah. And especially your role in team fights is going to be peeling, I feel like, more so than... I mean, maybe you try and get in the Ziggs and just be a menace, because the Ziggs is really going to struggle to cut through you. If you start to get a decent amount of health, you're going to be very hard for the Ziggs to shred, especially since most Ziggs are going like a very burst-focused build, and I imagine you would here. But even then, like, you can just play a more peel role as well. You know, when they dive in, you knock them up, disrupt. So if you're just keeping up and farm with the Ambessa, I don't think Perfect has to do a crazy amount this game.
Yep.
Really on the rest of the team, but the fact that Close at Pyoshik have struggled so far, a little bit concerning, because they need to be exploding these squishy carries. And I don't think the game's over at this point, definitely not, but it is starting to look a little bit rough. And the next fights, they really want to find some momentum. Do you see a ward placed down on that Fey Light? Does give vision of the river.
Yeah, seeing a lot of trading up on the top side on our spectating. As you can see, trying to highlight that indeed it is still the year of Dudu. But besides that, trying to fight for this Mountain Drake.
Oh, do you see that sweeper value? They got 3 wards and then just took a control ward with 1 sweeper.
Was that the super value for KT Rolster?
Yes.
Or the supers?
No, KT... Yeah.
Whose value was it? Okay, the Nocturne ult onto the Jarvan. Done a ton of damage, actually, and goes getting low himself. Pushing in life now on the retreat, and it looks like BDD is here and ready to party, as it is able to get the 1. So we're just going to trade supports there after the death of Cuz, and not half bad for the DN Supers.
Yeah, they managed to get 2 kills, trading around the play in a huge way, disengaging. And again, it's not easy to engage as this KT lineup. The Jarvan doesn't have that much sticking power with the Cataclysm onto the members of the DN Supers, so not working out, but oh no.
Yeah, you used that stolen flash already, and now a ton of damage is coming in. BDD knows it's not going to be lethal, but it's still Closer not being able to play the game.
So they commit here onto the bot lane, but Dokdam flashes out before the ult connects from the Aphelios and just throws everything in the kitchen sink back in reverse. They look to disengage here. Closer goes in, finishes off the support, and BDD is a huge threat. With all those flashes lying on the floor, you don't want to continue that play. With all the chakrams around aiming, you're happy with the 2 kills, you back away. It's a good pickup for the DN Supers, but they definitely know they can't take more.
Yep, feeling pretty good about that trade at least, but still going to fall behind here on the Dragons, as it looks like Cuz should be able to take this Mountain Drake. And that'll be 2 for them. We did highlight the gold, as still Dudu is ahead about 300. But
we have
difference as
quests coming in for the side of KT. Okay, it's now 3-2. A second ago it was 3-1, but like all the laners have got the quest done for KT, and DN Super's a little bit behind in that regard, so not feeling too good.
Ghost getting pretty aggressive here to try to fight for vision on that deep Fey Light. Ends up taking a ton of damage from the Ziggs, who has completed his Ludens.
Yep, 4 quests to 2. And I mean, the thing is as well, like okay, bot quest is coming now for Dokdam, so you get some extra gold. Mid quest is a big one though, because obviously those tier 3 boots is an instant power spike. And Rift Herald up in a minute, so we'll see if KT puts some priority towards that, because they're still in a very strong position. I also wonder if BDD, if we get like the Shadow Flame second, or why we see second from him, but like I just know that it feels like with the tier 3 boots, mid, Ludens, and then like things like Shadow Flame second, the damage is just like insane.
Yeah, the spikes are really crazy, and no doubt the Zoe from this position is going to love it. Wasn't able to take out the Wolf turret, the first turret in mid, and did do a decent amount of damage, got some of the plates. But now BDD is in the top lane, as looking to punish this. We do have the Thresh nearby, so an easy Lantern does come through. The fear is there, and now BDD is really getting pummeled by the Ambessa on top of it, on top of the Ziggs bomb from very far away. Cuz in a lot of trouble himself, and it might be 3 for 0 here, although he is going to flag and drag. Barely gets himself out, but it's still a nice little play here from DNS.
Good play from DNS, showing what the composition wants to do. An overstep, little overstep from BDD, and then the attempt to save. You think, I have a Thresh nearby. That just pulls him into the mixer. The power of the Nocturne plus the Ambessa, the Ziggs on top for the alley-oop, and a big reward there. Not only getting those kills, but able to transition into a Herald. And see BDD trying to threaten the Ambassador in the tower and thinks, I have a Thresh nearby. I'm fine. But Pioshik, the fear comes in just before the Lantern does. The Ambassador ult connects after. And look how low we see Dudu get here. But do you know why he lives? Because it's a year of Dudu.
Yeah, you heard it here first in game 1.
You hit it second here and then third as well here. And we kept saying it without stopping. It does look like they were kind of forced away from the Herald though, so not able to commit to that objective. But still, the goal lead earlier in the game, it was like 2,200, 2,300.
Very early on.
Only 1,000. And, you know, with it being later as well, they've managed to close that gap well. Dudu in the top matchup now. I mean, it's like, okay, I look at his items. Eclipse on Ambessa, that is the spike that you want. That item is insane on this champion.
Yeah. It's really, really good. It also has the Executioner's Calling just to cut down on some of the healing of that annoying top Rek'Sai. So it makes the trades stick even more. And so, yeah, I mean, it felt like in the beginning it was kind of just Dudu, but now he's been able to spread his influence, you know, based on that top fight we just saw, give some of the gold over to Pioshik, even over to Duckdom, who's ahead now himself, and doing an insane amount of damage. 2-0-1 on the Ziggs. Doesn't quite have the same farm as Aiming. Aiming, very well known for his farming and really committing to the bit, but still going to be a very strong and comparable Ziggs here.
Yeah, and approaching, going for the Shadow Flame second. Again, that 3-item spike, not quite the same as the mid 3 items when you have the Shadow Flame with the tier 3 boots, but still a huge spike for the Ziggs and a ton of damage.
Aiming, standing on a ward, is going to meet the Nocturne. The Lantern is just not in the right place. The communication very off. Aiming in a ton of trouble. Finally does go down. Pioshik healing.
He's still alive.
With the Conqueror. He finally does go down. As now we have the Between Worlds closer is getting in there. And you see BDD only able to hit the 1. That's not quite enough. That's not enough tempo in this fight. He's going to hit Duckdom, who's very healthy. And now Ghost in a lot of trouble. Flash comes forward from closer. It's another kill. As we do see life does go down, but still. The DN Super's looking quite strong in this very deep play. BDD
you need to get out
forward.
without BDD killing him. He has flash.
He's going to try to go for it again. The flash on forward, and Duckdom. A lot of respect shown there.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know. I think that would have killed him.
I think that kills him,
Yeah, so good move from Duckdom to flash away from that one. Not wanting to go down to his old teammate, but here, on a ward, jumps in. And I think what's crazy is how long Pioshik survives. He flashes over, pre-flashes to follow. Really good move there. But then he just survives a little bit too long. The healing comes in from the passive. He's getting damage down. They have to commit more to kill him. And then the cleanup comes in. Closer playing this really well, using the Between Two Worlds to get over here. Does get trapped a bit by the Cataclysm, but is able to follow up. And Duckdom even blocks the Paddle Star from BDD to keep Closer healthy so he doesn't take the extra damage from the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. So really well played now. BDD, look at nice exhaust.
Yeah, it's going to save him. And a bit more pressure as well as they're going to take down the mid-tier 1. And looking for a third dragon with Hextech Soul here on the map.
Yeah, so it's good plays from the DN Supers, but it's 3 dragons for KT is a little bit worrying, and it puts a lot of pressure on them. Because the thing is, all that has to happen is one good bubble, one good pick, one good team fight, and KT have Soul. That can make it really hard to deal with them, so... Yes, they've been getting some great fights and great engages, but they're not out of the woods yet.
By the way, we do have Horizon Focus.
Yeah, we
is
should
the
get
completed item
changed.
here for BDD.
So it's now back to OG Horizon Focus, where a lot less AP, because it used to have like 125 or something crazy. It's now got the lower AP, but it has the 10% damage above 600 range again. So the damage amplifier is back. This will also, I mean, this is just a great spike for the Zoe. So a lot of burst at this point in the game. Duckdom should have a Shadow Flame now. I think he's going to back for that. So that's also a big spike. You see Aiming going for Bloodthirst a second. He is like, I'm getting poked out too much. It's not a fun time. Please let me be healthy.
Might help him against the Nocturne guys as well.
That's the thing as well. If you have Flash and you can't Flash for the Nocturne, but you can Flash from the Ziggs ult, and the Nocturne doesn't have like that much damage. Like he will eventually get you down with some extra help. But if you don't get hit by the Ziggs ult and you have enough lifesteal and the right weapons, you can just kind of like melee fight the Nocturne. Aphelios is one of those AD carries who can just do that.
Loves when everybody is in range.
Yeah.
As long as you're not dying. And
but it's very contextual, so we'll see.
BT is definitely going to help out quite a lot as we're starting Baron at 20 minutes.
There's no scrying orbs from DNS, so they not. I mean, it seems like an ambitious start. Something to note is they made Baron do a lot more damage, and also the resistance shred. So a lot of people might think they took that away. They did take it away from Baron on AoE, and they gave it to Atakan, and then they gave it back to Baron. So now AoE shreds again. So Baron does a lot of damage. So I think Cuz was like, hey, we could maybe no, it does a lot of damage.
Nope.
That's second thought. It's tanky, does a lot of damage. It's scary, it's spooky. I don't like it. We're getting out.
Yeah, I think I had enough Otacon throws. I don't need now it to be replaced by Baron throws.
Yeah.
I feel like we've learned a lot over the years.
It's circular. You know, Atakan was a new Baron, and Baron is the old
Baron is the new Baron.
Yeah, Baron is the new Baron. That's that's where we are right now in League of Legends.
Because Otacon was the old Baron, and then so it replaced it, and then the new Baron.
Baron is Baron.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could establish that.
It all makes, it's all coming full circle.
Something else, you know, another little tidbit, they've changed it so the more dragons you've taken, the less damage you do to them. That was already a thing, but they really increased it. I think when you have 3 dragons, or maybe it's 4, it gets up to like 45% or something. It's a lot. That might be when you have 4. I can't fully remember the exact numbers, but you do a lot less damage to dragons, basically, is what I'm trying to say, compared to what it used to be. So KT's dragon take will be not as fast as it was last year at this point in the game. So DNS have a little bit more time to position, get over there, ult, BDD.
Yeah. It does feel like that was kind of the idea across the board, to make objectives more difficult to take and matter.
More committal.
A little bit more.
Yeah. Which helps when you have a Nocturne.
I feel like it helps. It doesn't really help us get that much action because our teams were already really safe outside of like T1 Baron takes and stuff like that in the past. Yeah. But now they're just like, yeah, we can never do this. Like, we're just not going to do it. So instead, we're just going to farm. And already we've had a couple of games that haven't had the most action.
We can't blame the changes for that, right? We can't blame the changes.
I'm just saying that we already have a tendency to do things a certain way here at the LCK, and we're only highlighting and enhancing that with some of the changes.
Well, that's because right now we're in a free flux state where we just have all our teams together. Later in the year, it's going to go back to Legend and Rise, and then we'll really see culture and gameplay and divide out.
Yeah.
So that's when we'll really get to see the differences.
So we got a little zoom in there. It looks like Coach Voice is going on right now for KT Rollster. I am curious what the idea is. I feel like this is actually a good time to use it where there's nothing really happening and you can kind of set up the late game for your team.
I know it's a really, I mean, maybe it's because Dragon's coming up, so they're talking about something for Dragon. And I know it's a really serious tool, important, but I'd love if they were just like, hey guys, do the Dragon. Obviously it's not, right? This is really serious, and I'm sure the coaching staff gave some
What do you want
insight.
for dinner? Is it KBBQ again? Are you sure? I mean, you can utilize it that way if you really want to.
There's nothing stopping you. You're allowed to do that. Oh, Sleepy Trouble Bubble? Oh, but they're good satchel. Yeah. Okay, but KT have control of the area, which is good. And a Scrying Orb already used, other one's not there. They are still on the Dragon. Again, it's slower, but it's going to start get whittled down.
Let's see if we can attribute this fight win to the Coach Voice, as we are going to have the hook land. The Paranoia is there, but they don't really use it, as it's going to try to turn onto the Rek'Sai, but not really doing all that much damage. Aiming takes a bit as the Ambessa gets in. The Iradudu is real, gets access to that back line, and maybe that's exactly what they needed to win this fight. BDD very healthy, though. Does a bit of poke, but it's not quite enough to get their feet underneath them, and that's the Dragon taken away by DNS.
The Iradudu is real.
It's
what
so
an
real.
ult. Honestly, so many tools were kind of free-fired out. Like the Paranoia didn't really do anything. The Ziggs ult was just kind of free-thrown. I was like, oh, DNS just not going to do anything in this fight. It kind of looked like, look, the Paranoia comes down. Nothing really comes from it. They're wasting time, it felt like, a little bit dealing with this Rek'Sai on the back line. I thought the fight was just going to, nothing was going to come from it. The ult comes out, and then look, as he ults, when he's in the animation, Dudu snipes him. So well played. Closes there for the follow-up, and that is enough to force him away, and then the backup comes through there. We'll see hit from his point of view as well.
I'll look for it, he says.
Calls it before it even lands.
Yep.
먹고 바로 가자.
The Iradudu, baby.
맞아줄게.
Love to see it.
Dear doo-doo.
And again, it's one dragon for DNS, but it denies the soul from KT. Gold is nearly even at this point as well. This has got to be feeling good for them now. A big pain point, 4 minutes before that next dragon, so bought some time for themselves.
And again, this trade pattern in the side lane is never going to favor Perfect.
Yeah.
He's just kind of taking a beating every time.
I think as well, when you're playing Zoe, you need time, you need space to land those. If you land the bubble, Sleepy Trouble bubble, great, fantastic. But you need time, you need space, you need to get a good angle. And the thing is, if you isolate yourself in a good angle, Nocturne can just engage on you. So you saw BDD was kind of grouped with the team to prevent that, but it meant he couldn't find great angles because it would just hit like frontliners, or you hit like when he hit Duckdam satchels backwards and the front line closes in to block. So I think it was really smart there from DNS. It did look a little bit rough at times in that fight. Like they weren't going to make anything happen. The paranoia didn't get any value, but really well played overall. And now the game in an even state. This would be such a huge first series win for DNS, a team who spent most of 2025 not winning.
Just straight up losing. Almost every single day.
No other way to spin it. The most losingest team in the LCK by far.
It was very sad, and you know, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the broadcast, but especially after winning game 1, we were like, hey, you know, it's great to see these guys turn it around. And
I think that's the thing, is that regardless of the outcome of this series, this is a great start already for them. But a win here would be massive, and it's still very much within reach at this point. The gold super even. It's just that only concern right now is the looming soul threat. They have a couple of minutes before that. It feels like the Baron, especially with them on red side and against a Zoe, it just feels like now the team too comfortable to start that without like a big fight win beforehand. And KT know that they're dealing with the Nocturne, so that they're not overstepping very much. We haven't seen like the aiming blunder we saw earlier when he was on that ward. Haven't seen any of those sort of situations since then.
Yeah, also just kind of the state of the game. There's no big objectives. You have to hold a line at very outwardsly. You know, it does feel like BDD doesn't really have an angle until the fights really begin. As speaking of which, Perfect in a bit of trouble here, although Duckdom also going to be engaged on, trying to take the satchel away. He does have his flash, but he doesn't want to use it because he knows he's just dead. A trade of members here. Duckdom gets caught out. Yeah,
I think Duckdom was moving to try and be in ult range of the bot play and just ended up super overextended. The fact the satchel was like just not even close to getting him anywhere near safety, it means that bot play to kill Perfect ends up just trading unfavorably because KT, they kill Duckdom, they get this mid tower as well. Big trade upwards, and the inner towers are all worth the same amount of gold now.
Yeah.
You know, last year the side lane inner towers were worth a lot more. Now they're all worth 600 gold. So you got that mid one, which is really nice for pushing up deep in the mid lane, and it's worth 600 gold. So you're happy to pick that one up. We'll see the replay here. Yeah, you can see both of them kind of moving down, like we want to support, we have global ultimates. And then they just kind of walk into this situation, which is not really a favorable one. It's a good counterplay from KT to kind of expect that and cut the inside line, knowing Perfect is dead, but like, hey, what can we get out of this?
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate position there for Duckdom in rotation, because nicely done by him to make the play happen.
Okay, Dragon in 20. Some big defensive pickups. We have the Zhonya's for BDD. We also have the Shield Bow for aiming. So Shield Bow Bloodthirster, this is a very defensive build for aiming. And everyone has all summoners up. So, you know, the dive threat is still there for the DN Supers, but execution needs to be crisp if you're going to connect onto these carries, because they have a lot of defensive items, tools available.
Anything about the last fight, that was really due to threading the needle perfectly onto the exact right target they needed, and then they just won. So you're going to try again here onto aiming in the mid lane. Gets feared up even after the flash, and down he will go. No more 80 carry as Closer gets in between the two worlds, as Duckdom also being bullied on the right side, but Ghost goes down. And so up a member here are DNS, Cuz going in and might be punished for it. Doesn't really have any backup on the backside of that one. He's going to go into his GA as BDD desperately trying to get something done. Will take out the rail. Life will hit the dirt as Perfect is going to take the tunnel and get away. Another bubble is going to land. BDD is getting more and more time in these fights as now Dudu goes down to his GA. A very close one. Cuz still alive and lower health bars. Perfect is unkillable. And down will go Pyosik, closer by himself. Looks like he's not very long for this world, although, okay, Perfect gonna take the tunnel, and it looks like he should be able to follow up and get the kill. And now KT, a very extended fight, and that will mean this Hextech Dragon and Soul for them.
What value BDD able to get in that fight? And I think DNS, after killing Eamon, we're convinced we've won this. We've achieved it. We've done our goal. The fight is ours. Everything is ours. But able to be punished there. Now, we're going to get a refight for this Dragon. Remember, no smites available right now. But I think too much control for KT in the area. Too hard to approach. Soul for KT. Mammoth play from their top side on the back of this.
Yeah, it's going to be gigantic. I mean, you think about Zoe with the Hextech Soul, even the Aphelios, definitely a lot of value there. But this is how this fight begins.
It's a big overstep from aiming, and it's great target selection, because the Zhonya's on the Zoe is a big blocker to the play working. The shielding, though, on the aiming just makes it slower. It doesn't stop you from killing him, really. And Ghost trying to save him goes down as well. But they end up kind of overcommitting here. You see, they're trying to look for Cuz, they're trying to look for Perfect, it's split focus. They get Cuz down to his GA, and the call here is clearly, hey, if we kill the jungler, we get Baron. So everyone moves over, they leave life to get punished, and they're getting poked down more and more. They keep focusing damage on Perfect, but look how much healing he gets over the course of this fight. He just keeps healing up, and there's summoners on the ground for BDD to pick up.
It's good, he says. Just saying, okay. And yeah, a pretty extended fight. BDD doesn't say all too much outside of just, you know, calling to go ahead and continue the fight. As game time is looking slightly longer.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of action, it feels like in solo queue you're getting, you know, faster waves and getting back to lane faster. And obviously in solo queue you fight for anything, right? But our teams, they'll fight when there's an objective. And also things like a Baron gives less gold, right, than before. It's half as much gold, global gold for each member of the team. And so, you know, a Baron would often be like game ending, but it feels like a little bit less so now. Right now, the gold's super even, but KT having that Hextech Soul is such a frustrating thing to deal with. Now, I do think of all compositions, DNS's comp is one of the ones that isn't hindered as much, because, like, you're diving in. Like, if Pyosik is right on top of aiming, slowing him isn't really going to change things, right? You're still going to get Ziggs ulted, you're still going to get exploded by the combo, the engaged combo of damage. But those situations, those messy skirmishes we saw like that one before, the extra slow value is going to be really disruptive, and allow BDD just keep landing those sleepy trouble bubbles, which we've seen be massive value. So
yeah, I think the slowdowns will definitely help, but as you were mentioning, it really requires a certain kind of team fight to get full value out of it. Duckdom kind of just dying to top Rek'Sai in the last fight without doing much damage outside of his ult was a big issue. And now he can get caught out even easier. So gonna have to be very careful about his positioning. I do feel like our AD carry players have been bullied quite a lot in this game number 3.
We also have level 19 top laners, so with a top lane quest, they can go up to level 20. Which is a lot of power, a lot of base stats. Both top laners feeling really strong. We've obviously talked about the year of Dudu and how good he's been in the series, but Perfect in that last fight, absolutely popping off. And in this dive-focused composition, they don't really have the ability to cut through this Rek'Sai. He is a real thorn on their side. I genuinely think Dudu is the one who does the most damage to him, but it's very hard for Dudu to cut through him and hold him still, right?
Yeah.
He needs, you know, when like films about like high schools, you have like the bully with the 2 goons who hold them, and then Dudu needs them so you can just punch them, but very hard to make it stick.
Yeah. Needs a couple of goons to help him out.
Yeah.
And we'll see if he can get that, as Cuz just clearing out some of the vision around this Baron. Haven't really seen too many opportunities to go for this one, and as I mentioned before, it does feel like our LCK teams are going to be even more careful about how they go for this objective. And
you know,
so
you say that.
Kind of watching our top lane.
You say that. T1 20-minute Baron.
I don't know if they can do it quite as reliably now.
T1 20-minute Baron.
But they might still just do it.
They'll send.
As you're
it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind.
It is, yeah.
We do get the Banshees come through from Duckdam. Is going for the healing reduction with the Oblivion Orb. Going to be a very late Rabadons, if ever, but obviously has space for that in his inventory. BD is closing in his Rabadons, so a big spike. But yeah, Aiming has 4 completed items, and I assume is going towards GA next. Would be a good pickup, I think. Level 20 for both top laners, though. They are, and that's the thing you got to think about it, right? Is everyone is farming quite well in this game, but the top laners have picked up a ton of farm. We typically see top laners not get as much.
Yeah, Dugdom lost his Banshees and then got hit with the Hextech Soul, so he got slowed down, had to go away, but now Cuz extremely low. In goes Pillshake, trying to punish him. In between 2 worlds does come down, but Cuz is just unkillable. There's no follow-up, and this time Aiming is safe enough, although in does go Doo-Doo trying to take him out, but instead he's CC'd to death as the GA will come through. And now they have Aiming alive in a fight, which is crazy. Feels like the first time this entire game, and it means they're going to stomp it with flying colors. KT take a gigantic fight, and they're looking to push and maybe even end the game. We'll have to see how far they can go.
I think they can just end on this. It's only life to survive. They've got the overgrowth in the tower. They'll shred that super quick. Aiming able to survive and put the damage out in return. DNS didn't quite have it there, and they're not going to be able to take the series. I think KT just going to end it here.
BD trying to land the trouble bubble with the stolen flash as Life as Arel does nothing to clear out the wave. Down will go the 2 Nexus turrets, and there's no respawn on those this time around. The Nexus does fall, and KT take the 2-1 victory here against DNS, who did have a great showing in game number 1, and Doo-Doo especially looking great, memes aside. But at the end of the day, KT do land strong with returning Aiming, Ghost also returning to pro play. And then the 3 guys who made it to Worlds Finals in the top side of the map. Looking good so far here for KT.
I think once the defensive itemization came in, it became very tricky for the DNS side, but a good performance regardless. But this is kind of the outcome we expected with KT winning out over DNS.
Yeah, it definitely is, as Onks is going to have to think about his first POM of the LCK Cup. So we get the classic perfect smirk and thumbs up, feeling pretty good. As there's the classic Cuz celebration as well. I don't know if we're gonna have anyone jumping on top of desks this time around. You'll know what I'm talking about if you saw UCal at the season opening event. Speedy gives us a nice little Agumon celebration himself, as Aiming says, hey, it's all about Ghost, with the Thresh celebration himself. KT take the win. And yeah, I mean, it was, it was a little bit of a bump in the road losing that first game, but I do feel like their comp certainly hurt them, especially with how far behind they got, with not a lot of priority in a lot of their lanes, not a lot of winning lanes, and so they couldn't really scale with what they had. But once they got to a better state in the draft and better states in the games, it did look like KT were looking very strong here. And I'm expecting a lot of these matches to go 2-1 as we have teams figuring things out and stronger teams that should, quote-unquote, win, dropping games because they're not 100% clean right at the beginning of the year. So not too surprising, to be honest, to get the 2-1 victory here for KT. It's still a KT victory, as we expected, but it took them a little bit longer than 2 games. But
a better luck for DNS, I think, as well. And I think that's the thing, is like, I think there's going to be some teams in the LCK where the gap is big enough, we'll still see that 2-0. But I think DNS, with this roster shake-up and with some better performances, there's still issues, right? They're not a flawless team, but it's day 1 of the season. And I'm optimistic about where this team can end up, given a bit more time, because I think this is a good start. There was some good moments. I think Pioshik and Closer definitely doing some great work, but going up against Cuz and BDD was a tall task. And you can see why these guys were in the World Finals last year.
And Perfect.
Perfect, definitely that Rek'Sai performance in Game 3.
He was also there.
That Game 3 Rek'Sai performance really kind of brought it back, but I think didn't have the best day overall. But definitely did his job in this one. And I think the bot lane was something to be desired, I think. I think Aiming was kind of quiet over the course of today.
Yeah.
This was that final fight though. And it just feels like with the extra defenses, it wasn't the ideal start for DNS because, you know, Nocturne got caught out initially. He's playing at long range with the ult. But they just lacked a little bit of damage. And part of it is the ult from Pyoshik wasn't used onto aiming. It was used onto Cuz. And so lacking a bit of damage, he also has those defensive tools available. And it just felt like their composition had kind of hit its wall. But a good play from KT, good peel. And they will come through. And Ghost, 100% win rate still in the LCK as a support. And winning his first series, definitely feeling very excited about that.
Yeah, a lot of clapping, a lot of nices, and a lot of words also being said there. As poor Dudu, man. It's still the year of
Guys,
Dudu.
it's still the year of Dudu.
I mean, he did do a lot of damage to tank Rek'Sai, but it doesn't matter because he also was the one reason why they almost came back in this game. So
yeah,
shout out to Dudu, but you know, still a team game, and at the end of the day, equal or even amounts of damage there on the side of KT, outside of aiming, who just kind of died a lot in this game. We're able to get them across the line. As I'm very curious about the player of the match. Kind of felt like it could have gone for a whole slew of different players, except, well, not aiming.
I think it's probably going to be one of two players. And it's more likely to be one than the other.
It's BDD.
Yeah. I was like, it's either BDD or Cuz, and it's almost certainly going to be BDD, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I think BDD and Cuz both played really well, but BDD had the pop-off Zoe game, and also, I'm going to be honest, we all love a bit of BDD, so...
or a lot of BDD because, you know,
yeah,
he goes to a lot of international events and he plays a lot. We get a lot of games of him.
Yeah.
He is quite good.
Technically, Ghost had the highest win rate in this series, so if someone voted for him, you know...
well...
but I expect probably most votes for BDD, maybe a sprinkle for Cuz. We'll see.
So guys, on the space, we're going to have an interview with Ghost, and make sure you tune into that after we have our stage interview, so I'll hand it over for the translation now.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation. For the first match of 2026 LCK Cup Group Battle, we're here with BDD on the side of KT Rolster. And with KT's victory on opening day, Elder Group takes the first win. How do you feel? I didn't expect it to be an easy win, but I'm just glad that we're able to win. What was the meaning behind your celebration? You know, during Worlds, Ji-sun actually gave me a recommendation on celebration and my ceremony, and she said, maybe Agumon, you can try something Digimon related, and I've just been using it since. So we'll look forward to seeing more of that Digimon Agumon celebration from you. Game 1 was an unfortunate loss, but you played Malphite. You guys played Malphite Jungle. So was this just a pick that was rated highly? You know, bot lane is really important, but I believe that, you know, it would be really important to pick something that would really help and aid our bot lane. And yes, we did prepare this prior to today's match. And it was a full 3-game series from the first match. And the enemy Mbessa was a hassle to deal with. So what was the win con today? Yeah, we had a little bit of accidents here and there. But as long as we were able to group together and fight and, you know, stall out the team fights, we would win. Yeah, and I felt really bad about, you know, the death in the middle of the game at top. And the coach voice is also a new change, and we saw the KT coaching staff being proactive with it. So, any thoughts? You know, the coach during practice, he would just say stuff like, fighting guys, but today I felt like it was actually really helpful during the match. Any feedback for them? I feel like as long as they keep it up with the kind of feedback and the comments that they're giving us, I think it'll be really good. And Aiming, Polu, and Ghost have joined this season, and you are playing with a new bot duo. So how was it? You know, I'm really familiar with all these players. Honestly speaking, it's not that right now we're not at a point where we're at 100%. So I think we have a long way to go. We just have to keep working hard together. And yeah, you've played with Ghost before. So how is Ghost as a support? You know, Ghost, he's always been a player that really looks at the big picture in the game, and he has a really good read in the game, so I think it was really helpful today. After the first match, how do you feel? Do you have any feeling about the rest of the year? You know, it's a little too hard to say, too soon to say right now. I think we'll just be able to show through our gameplay. And for your win streak, it'll be the last World Semifinals rematch against Genji, the captain of Baron Group. So what is your mindset? You know, instead of trying to win right now, I think we'll just have to focus on trying to reach that 100% in our performance. And that's the end of the interview with BDD. And back to the desk. Thank you.